Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody is doing great. Hope everybody's doing great this evening here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. We got Lechuza Bruja. For those that tune in on Restream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and follow my showreel TikToks under ApeCS895. How's everybody doing this Friday evening? Hope everybody's doing great. Just doing probably like an hour live, 2 hour live. I don't know. I had to take me a siesta. But sometimes when you're feeling tired, you have to get that rest. Got to follow what your body is telling you, and that's what my body was telling me. So I had to get some rest. Sharing out this live out real quick before I continue. And we're all shared out. Here we go. What do we got here tonight? We got the real wino, main house, Sister Ivy Ramirez. Yeah, sorry folks, but I had to take me a siesta earlier. It was like I watched the wrestling, and so I got 2 hours to go before the live starts. But I was feeling, I don't know, I broke, I did something I was supposed to do, and I went to Whataburger, and I drank me a milkshake, and the milkshake got me. I ain't supposed to be drinking anything with sugar, so that got me a little bit dizzy. So I want to go take me a nap, but I'm up now. Uh, so how's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. We got Sister Madeline Shap. So how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Do y'all hear anything in the background at all, or is it or y'all just hearing me? If y'all just hearing me, give me a thumbs up. Awesome, Double O. Yeah, I was trying to figure out who won. You know, I seen that they were playing earlier. So yeah, congratulations to the Bearcats for the 956 from the Rio Grande Valley. My hometown is 10-0. Hopefully, everybody sticks to the football and go as high as they can. That's good. He said his main house that he's going to a Bigfoot festival. So you're working, Ivy Ramirez. Yeah. Well, I mean, today is Lechuza Bruja. I was trying to think of what I could talk about tonight. I know normally we talk about the same things over and over. Uh, but yeah, this Lechuza Brujas, they do exist spiritually because I've witnessed them all my life, and even till like maybe 2 years ago, I witnessed one, a white one that was standing uh, behind a tree, and this one in my backyard. And I was doing a live, and I was finishing up the live, and I seen somebody peek out behind a tree, and he was looking at me, and I was like, "Well, what is that?" And it's like playing peekaboo, with me, and it was pretty tall. And then I was like, maybe just my imagination. Then I seen it, and it pulled all his body out, and it's looking at me like that. So I got a chair right beside me, and I'm looking at it and while I'm doing the live. It was in my backyard, and I said to myself, if it tries to attack me, I'm gonna use the share to block the attack, uh, and I'm gonna try to, trap it underneath the chair. But then it just flew from behind the oak tree. It flew over the fence, and it was pretty huge. I'm talking about like 5'6", 5'7", that tall. Because I want to go measure where the head was, or he was standing behind the tree, and it was pretty tall, but not as tall as the lechuza that I got captured. That was real tall out there in the woods. Uh, I haven't gone investigating. I'm still recuperating from, I guess you could say, from being zapped out there in the woods. We got Sister Wendy Romero here. Yeah, I believe all that. It's all of the same, brothers and sisters. Uh, the DDN. When we talk about Bigfoots, uh, all these cryptids that are being cited, they're from the same source, the DDN. You know, of course, people are going to make things to benefit out of it, right? You got the Mothman. There's another one, the Mothman, when the bridge collapsed and all that. Normally, when the Mothman, the Hat Man, Bigfoot's Dogman or appear hellhounds, there's always a tragic accident when somebody passes away. I guess you could say there are kind of like soul collectors. They collect souls. I'm more sure people have experienced things, but you know the question is, what was happening in their lives at the moment that they experienced something? What kind of lifestyle were they living at the time? Uh, did they have spiritual openings where maybe they might have been on the wrong path? They might have had hatred, vengeance. That's normally how they attack, right? The person has to have an opening so they can try to attack them, or they're gonna, if they see that they have an opening, they're gonna manifest to look a certain way to find a bigger opening to attack the vessel, to attack the host. So some of the individuals, if they didn't figure out by now what they were dealing with, they might still have the negative attachment on them of whatever manifestation they took. They, they still might have the negative attachment on them, in which it could still be affecting them till this day. Of it wasn't of what they seen or what they heard; it's what they didn't do, and it's tied boundary rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know. I know that if I were to go right now, if I were to get up and go do a live, it's real fresh out there. That I always capture something, brothers and sisters. Um, not that I'm looking for anything. I mean, I could go anywhere to any stop at any location, and this what's the spirit, right? It's going to show up, and it's going to show itself. This is what it always does. It's been like that all my life. It could be, I could be stranded on the side of the road, and something will show up. Uh, I've been on nature trail walks, things show up. I've been to recreational activities like to the lakes and stuff like that. Things show up. It's just it happens that way. It's like they show themselves because they know what I'm about spiritually. So some of them, some spirits will show because they need assistance. Just like people need spiritual advice. Well, there's spirits that are trapped. Some are fragmented spirits. That's what they call them. Where somebody passed away, they don't even know that they're gone. So some of these fragmented spirits, if you go to the same location, sometimes they have to become whole again. And you place the fragmented soul back into one, then you're able to uh, guide it spiritually. Call upon the Heavenly Father to if it's a spirit that's worthy, right, of making it to the kingdom of heaven, or He takes them accordingly to wherever they go, right, spiritually. But then you have to deal with the I should have called this the territorial demons, the demons of the area. Just like there's witches of the area, there's witches everywhere. Every town, every city, they're everywhere. So there's witches that are in charge of that area, but there's demons in charge of the areas that these witches worship. That's how hence we got Bigfoot. Because Bigfoot is a demon. So some of these people that worship the demon, which is some people that are in this Bigfoot community, right? They're witches and warlocks. That's what their mission is, to get you to believe, right? If they get you to believe in it, then the demon gains more power over the people that are believing in it. That's what the Bigfoot community doesn't want to tell you. Well, I'm telling you, that's what it is. You don't take a genius to figure it out. I've been figured it out a long time ago. That's why some of the Bigfoot communities don't like me to talk spiritual. The reason they don't want me to talk spiritual because if it awakens my brothers and sisters and might be caught up on all that, then and they say, okay, I'm gonna believe in Jesus Christ. That's one believer that they lost, right? But yeah, that's how they get you, man. They get you to believe, you know. I was in a Bigfoot community, and they booted me out. I don't care. They booted me out because I did not believe in the Bigfoot. I did not believe in it. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I just follow what is being shown to me spiritually. I know the Bigfoot is a spirit, an unclean spirit. That's why at nighttime it looks like a big dark silhouette because it's a shadow spirit, a big bulto negro, demonic in nature. When you talk about Bigfoot, you could place disembodied demonic Nephilim, not something that's in the flesh, but it's something that's in spirit. They demons, right? That can mimic voices, anything supposedly what people think a Bigfoot is. Well, the DDN can do that. Everything, you name something they can do. Whatever people want to say it's a Bigfoot, that's man-made right there. Uh, by the way, the film that they recorded a long time ago was a man-made film. You're gonna have a cast to do a recording like that. And that's how they captured that. I'm talking about the certain film that a lot of people believe that it's a real Bigfoot. Well, main house, there's people that they do the ceremonies that you're talking about, but they're not doing it through Jesus Christ. They're not doing the ceremonies through Jesus Christ. They're worshiping the Bigfoot. In other words, they're worshiping the demon. When they leave Jesus Christ out of the equation and they're gifting the Bigfoot in the ceremonies, they're worshiping the demon. That's what they're doing, worshiping the demon. Especially when they leave Jesus Christ out of the equation. That's cult like activity right there. Main house. That's a cult. I'm just being honest about it, man. I've had several people invite me to this Bigfoot things, but I choose not to go because I already know what it is. I go with what the spirit guides me. Yeah, that's what they're worshiping. They're worshiping the demon, the demon of the woods. I'll drop a link right there, see if anybody wants to jump on to what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's Brujas and Brujos do that. The people that do in the Bigfoot communities, that's what witches and warlocks do at nighttime. Or, they do ceremonies out there in the woods, in the fields, in the corn, wherever there's a field, they do the ceremonies, but they're worshiping what they believe in, what they worship in. They say, here, get this little figure of the statue and place it inside your house. It'll protect you. Why why are they telling you to do that? They said that the family of the Bigfoots will protect you. No, that's not a family of Bigfoots. That's demonic in nature, man. That's like an opening to invite them in your house. I'm just being straight up, man. Like no difference in trick or treating, right? When you go, I know I was addressed as a count and all this stuff, but trick or treating just started from paganism. The reason the pagans would dress up that way is is so because it said that on that day the demons and devils will come out at night, right? So they would dress up to keep the demons and devils confused. That's what they would say. But what it truly is when they dress up that way, it's because it's like a form of worship. I know I dressed up as Count Dracula or the Count, you know, but it was just for the show. Since everybody knows in the states, well, Halloween in the state kind of means is just to dress up, right? But the real significance of it was that worshiping of demons and stuff like that. Uh, and there's sacrifices that are done then too during Hallows Eve or Halloween. The witches, warlocks, they've been doing sacrifices on those dates. Yeah, well, I don't share Bigfoot experiences. That's the thing, main house. I talk about how these cryptids that people call cryptids, including Bigfoot, that there are DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim. I have the short reels where I capture things. There you go, Sister Beyond the Box. You want to jump on, Sister Beyond the Box? You can jump on. I'll drop the link there. If you want to jump on, I'll drop it again. Because that's what they do. That's what it is about. That's what the real deal is. Don't be deceived, man, because they might have a sacrifice, and they're going to use you as a sacrifice. Don't be running around looking for Bigfoot. You're going to get lost out there in the woods. Uh,
No sacrificing people allowed.
let's talk about the real deal that these people are bullshitting. They're bullshitting y'all. That's what it is about. They make it seem it's kind of like a witch. She'll give you a smile. She'll offer you things, give you candy, give you all kinds of things. It looks good. Looks like a ripe apple, ripe banana, the candy, a fresh cupcake, a fresh cake. The thing is that it has a maldad on it. It has a wrongdoing on it. So the wrongdoing that's on it is what's going to get you. When you accept that gift, you're accepting the wrongdoing that it has also.
Yeah.
Even though you might not know it's got a wrongdoing, but that's how they get you spiritually.
Yep. They're sneaky. If they really want to do damage to you, they'll do it in their own little ways. You just gotta keep your faith and stay strong and overcome them because they'll hit you when you're not looking. I have some good news, Abe.
What's that, sister?
Well, I told you we've been doing Monday through Friday, we've been doing like that breaking news thing on my channel, and we're all over the place on radio, right?
Yep.
Well, we've had a guy in our chat from Channel 12 TV, which you can get off of Roku and Spotify and all that stuff. Uh, he wants our show on there.
Nice.
Yeah. We're complex, though, because if we go to him, then we can't do the show on YouTube because it's like a
Yeah.
one of those paid channels or something like that. But
The rights and stuff like that.
yeah, but we're behind a paywall. We can basically say whatever we want, and we can't get knocked down for it. But it sounds interesting. I mean, I never thought about being on TV before, but okay.
That's good.
Yeah. So I guess in the next 2 weeks, we're going to kind of, we got to get everything set up for it and work out all the details. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah. So things are going okay. But,
Yeah, what do you think about this? The festivals that people do for for cricket.
mm, well,
Oh man.
Glenn is going to one, but he's basically going because this channel 12 also picks up. I guess the Jessica Jones and a few of them are making some kind of a like a little movie, um, and they're this channel 12 is investing in this for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be out there. Well, Glenn is going to go out there because he knows Jessica and he knows a bunch of other people there. So he's just going to go and hang out. And he said, I'm going out to the Bigfoot conference." I said, "Oh, is Bigfoot speaking?" I said,
Ah man.
"Because you go out there and get in a tent, you'll start snoring and you'll scare them away. So it won't really matter." But I mean, I guess I think anyone that I've ever seen that has gone out to these wooded camp things to go look for Bigfoot, um, they get together with a bunch of people they know, they have fun, they barbecue. I think it's just a reason to do something different out of ordinary life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy, man.
Hmm.
I mean, there is UFO conferences also and stuff like that. I understand, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
how can I explain it better? You got these people that put themselves in a high pedestal because they want you to believe in the Bigfoot, and
Yeah.
it's all. I'll be straight up here. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's all bullshit, man.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Do you know if,
It's about ego. A lot of these people, it's about their ego because they
yeah,
think they have some kind of power because of what they practice. They think they have some kind of connection with Bigfoot, but it's actually demons that they're believing in. That's what they're
yeah,
believing in.
that's what I was gonna say. Do you think that they just don't understand that, you know, the reason why these things come and go and poof disappear and all that stuff, that they're not
They understand
visible?
exactly what they are, what they truly are, but they're not going to say it because then it'll take away the belief factor. Because these people know that they're demons.
Yeah, I mean, you can
They know. They
say,
know.
but you can say, well, they are demons or they're aliens or they're this, you know, we know that. Well, okay, why are you going looking for demons? That's usually not a good thing. I mean, it's bad enough trying to keep them away from you in your everyday life, but to go out and actually look for them, are you crazy? I mean, they're
Well,
not.
they don't have. You don't have to go look around. They'll come to your house, man.
Yeah,
This DDN that I speak of.
that's
I tell
right.
you, I had a lady call me once, and she called me and said she seen the dog man. That's what she said. Or was it a Bigfoot or dog? I can't remember. I believe it was. She said the dog man. That's what she said. And she then like a couple of days later, she called me and said that it was living in her living room. And it's like I'm talking to you, and I
What?
see it right now. It's in my living room. The first thing I thought is, well, maybe she's on drugs, right?
Right?
And I said, well, what is it the Bigfoot doing? He's just sitting on my couch. The dog man is sitting on my couch and looking at me. That's what she's saying.
So
And I
she,
said, I said to her, did you, when you seen it in the woods, did you pray against it? Did you type out and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, tell it not to follow you? And she said, no. I said, did you pray for it not to follow inside your home? She said, no. And so that's That's the problem. It followed you into your house. It's in your house. I said, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to go look at it. You say it's looking at you. I want you to tell it, I take authority over you. I type on rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. Leave my home." I told her to put some, before she did that, to put some spiritual crystals on the doorways and the windows of her home with holy water. She had, I think she used something pure olive oil, and she placed it on the windows, and then she went up to it because she was looking at it, right? The manifestation, because they want you to believe it's real. So she looked at it and she said, "I take authority over Jesus Christ and tie by the rebuke you, leave my home." I was praying from my side of from my end, right?
Right.
And next thing you know, it was gone out of her home.
Y- You
So,
know, this
you know,
world,
it was gone. It left. And she said, "Thank you." And then after that, it happened like a couple of times that she seen it again and she rebuked in Jesus Christ and we left. And after that, I didn't hear from her again.
right. Well, if people believed in Jesus as much as they believe in uh, other things, this world would probably be a better place. I mean, I if they use it for a way to just speak to each other, whole because I've been to a few. I've been to a UFO concert or UFO conference once, and it was a long time ago. And I mean, there were some people up there who had some real, you know, belief in what had happened to them and different stuff like that. Okay, but there were some people that were so far fetched that I sat there looking at them like, wait, what were you on? I mean, it's just I
Yeah,
don't know.
some of these individuals, bro and sisters, that you're believing in, that they're up there because they have big groups, they're full of crap. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're full of crap. Uh, if I seen a guy that's related, affiliated to a group I used to be in, and this guy's been out of the hospital numerous times. He was walking with a with a scepter, and he had a crystal on the scepter, and he said it was in his third he was a third generation or something, a Bigfoot, that he would communicate with Bigfoot and he could control the Bigfoot. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is freaking bonded. He said, how come you don't tell the truth to the people what he truly is, what he's worshiping?
Yeah,
Basically, he's worshiping the demons that are there, not the Bigfoot.
he was
Bigfoot is
a
just a cop out. Bigfoot is a cop out.
he was like
He's
a
a,
wizard.
yeah, like a wizard, right?
Yep,
So he was bullshit. He's bullshitting the people, and these people write books and all this. To me, the books is a lie. If they're basing it and not telling the full truth of what they call a Bigfoot, what it truly is, and
right.
what it truly is a DDN, the disembodied demonic Nephilim.
And you know what I don't understand? Like I said before, the footprints. When people find a Bigfoot footprint, they only find one print. Where
Well,
is the rest of the walking?
well, it takes one. It takes only 1 foot to make a print.
Yeah,
So they take up the boot, slide it in the mud, make it look big, and then put the shoe back on. And there is certain shoes now that they could be like a big fit, the way of Bigfoot, and you just step on it and make a print. And then they with the I seen it. I seen a person that had a shoe like that looked like a Bigfoot, and they made a print, and then they did a what do you call it?
castered it. Yeah.
Cemented. They casted it. Yeah,
I mean, like I said
crazy.
before, you have been through what you've been through. If somebody can actually come up and say, look, I was out in the woods, this big hairy thing came and was rattling my tent, and I got up and it slapped me in the back and turn around and here's this big old red handprint. Well, okay. you know, if you think it was a big hairy thing that did that to you, me myself, I've been in cemeteries. I've been bit in my back
Yeah.
before. These demonic things can do things to you. They can harm you. I have a friend who has another friend that channels. Now, I don't trust channelers because channelers can tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
And so this girl says to me that they were out on this UFO conference on the East Coast, and she said that her friend that channeled had channeled some Bigfoot and she's seen him. So what did she do the next month? She packed up a tent, went all by herself out to the middle of the woods and camped out there for 2 weeks. Okay, might be good for you, but you don't ever do that alone. So when she got back, she contacted me and she told me how much fun she had, and the Squatch were all out there with her, and they kept an eye on her and made her safe. And I'm just, I'm like,
uh,
okay, well, she said, I would, I said, how did you eat? She said, oh, I got Walmart delivery out in the middle of the woods. I had to meet them down by the road. I'm like, okay. She said, but I
mm.
got them, gifts and I would feed them and and I don't know. But I personally, myself, that I know of, have never seen a physical being of a Bigfoot. Okay, never physically seen one that I could touch, poke with my finger, anything like that.
You see the videos where there's people and they're squatting down, like they're smiling, like they're associating with a family of Bigfoots, and the only thing that's there is trees and brush.
Yeah,
I seen one like that. That was like yesterday. I'm like, what the hell? He's like the guy sitting there, like he's looking at a family of Bigfoots, but it's nothing but brushes and trees. It's like crazy.
I told her she was nuts for doing that by herself because I said, had a big old mountain lion come for you, I bet you that Bigfoot wouldn't have stopped it. That mountain lion might have had you for dinner. And I said, don't ever do that again. Well, my friend told me that the Bigfoots, when they channeled them, they said that they liked me and I was their friend and they were going to protect me. So I went back to go hang out with them. And
Hmm.
my thought was, woman, you have been in Chicago way too long. Just- I could not believe it.
Yeah, I think I might have rattled some cages when I brought the spiritual aspect on the PRT conference over there. All those demons were getting pissed off. The
Mm.
demons of these people that believed in the Bigfoots and all that, they were getting pissed because I was bringing Jesus Christ into the equation. They didn't like that. Uh, that's okay. I
I
know what
mean,
it is.
I don't discredit people if they think that they see things. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, we both know there are things all around us all the time. All the time.
I can show you a picture right now. Let me show you a short reel of me. And this is doing my live. I didn't know it was behind me, but I could sense something behind me. And, and I'll find it and I'll show it real quick. Go ahead. I'll
Okay.
let you talk, Sister Brenda.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't discredit people. I believe that, you know, people do see things. I just think that they mistaken what they see. Not that I'm saying that it might be a gorilla or anything, but we have these spiritual demonic things that walk on this earth. Now, whether they possess or take over a person, or they come and look because they know, because they read your mind. These things know what
The
you're
spirit
looking
knows
for.
the spirit knows the spirit.
Yeah, and they
What it
know
is.
what you're looking for. So how are they going to appear to you? If you go out in the woods and you want to see your mother who has passed away, and you out there long enough and you're concentrating hard enough, these things can come back as your family members.
They can
Okay?
manifest. Yes,
Yes.
they can manifest to look like somebody. They can use their voices.
Mhm.
You hear a disembodied voice calling you from inside the woods. That is one of your family members to lure you in into the woods.
Yeah. Or what's the one thing that catches everybody's attention, I don't care who you are, that makes you want to run out and help it? They'll make
A
themselves sound like a
a child
child.
or a woman crying.
Yep, every time. So, I mean, people just have to understand and be very careful when they're playing with things like that, because you never know what you're coming up on. Now, you can only hope that when you come up on this thing that it spiritually is not strong, that it
Yeah,
might be weaker, because it's those stronger things. When I tell you, I was bit in the center of my back in between my shoulder blades to the point where it made me bleed, and I was with 5 other people. So, these things can hurt you, they can do harm to you, and that is their intention.
yeah, because they're demonic in nature. They're demon, unclean spirits. They're the DDN. Check it out. Here's let me share it. At least I have some kind of proof. How they were up here,
Yeah.
and I was sensing it in this picture right here. On
And
this,
if
make it
you
right.
look at that, I can look at that behind you and I can say,
Yeah,
Abe, there's a Bigfoot behind you. Because look at it. Look at it. Its whole body to head. You can see where the eyes are. That would look kind of like where the Bigfoot's eyes sink in because their face comes out. So,
it'll show. It's gonna show the picture how tall it truly is. But I'm just saying that I capture them in spirit, DDN form, spirit.
yeah.
That's what they are. There you go. That's the regular picture right there. Let me see if we can go to it, and so you can see how tall it is for the viewers that are here.
And
There you
first
go.
of all,
Look,
Bigfoots are very, very tall. I can't see
yeah,
one coming into
there's
a house and sitting on a couch.
yeah, they're real tall, and there's others here, but this is the demons, the Nephilim, right? This the DDN, disembodied demon. They're very tall,
Yeah.
and there's several in this picture, several here and here. See, you see, this one looks like a Bigfoot, but then this one looks like a dog man.
Yeah.
Side by side, you tell the Bigfoot community or the dogman community, how come do Bigfoots and dogmen get along? He said, no, they're
Supposedly
territorial.
no. Yeah, supposedly
Uh,
they don't. That's what they say.
so they said they're territorial. Then how come they're hanging together? Because they're the same. They're DDN, disembodied, disembodied demonic Nephilim. Right there's the proof.
I was thinking about something the other night, like werewolves. In the movies when they have people that change from a human into a werewolf. I I I never thought of it that way, but that could be like a demon possession. It's
Yeah,
manifesting into something else from your body.
I could sense something in this picture. You see my eyes. I'm sensing it spiritually. So I'm angling the camera where I'm sensing something behind me.
Right.
I could feel the energy. So I'm moving. I have the camera moving to where I'm sensing something behind me, and that's how I was able to capture these images.
When you sense those things, does it feel like kind of like a tingling vibration inside your body,
It's
like your whole
it's one of
body
those
just
sensations that you feel heaviness all around you, and your spiritual instincts go off,
yeah.
and you know there's danger because your spirit is telling you there's
Yep.
danger, spiritual danger. So that's when you know. So what I would do is go into prayer.
Right.
But even when I was in prayer, they was still around me. So I would just move the camera around, and but I would be saying the Our Father. But yeah, there he is, the proof.
Yep.
So that's why I don't understand if how can these people that are these communities not know that there are the DDN, that they're in spirit, that they're unclean spirits, demons.
I think
That's what
it's
they are.
I think it's
Right
kind
there,
of
you
like
see a
school,
Bigfoot, and right beside it is a dog man.
right? Well,
Right beside it.
I think it's kind of like school. So many people for so long have talked about Bigfoot, and it has indoctrinated people into, oh, these Bigfoot and these dogmen, they're out there. This is the way they are. This is what they do. So it's kind of like the way they teach our kids in school. They teach them what they want them to know. So a lot of these people are being taught what other people uh, want them to believe, basically.
You got two of them right here.
Yeah.
There's a dog man.
Yep.
There's the Bigfoot. They look different. I have another picture. I got several pictures like this, and they're side by side. So when I hear cryptozoologists or people from those communities, oh, they're mortal enemies. They fight each other.
Yeah.
You then why are they side by side?
They only hang out together when you're around, Abe.
Or the bigger question is, why are they trying to hang around with me?
Yeah. There you go. I know why. They're trying to get at you, and they know that you know they're there, and they're trying to wait for your weakness. Why do they wait for people's weaknesses? They do that so that they can harm you, possess you, go through you, take your energy. I mean, this world's not what a lot of people think it is. It's completely different. And people that can see past a lot of stuff, we know we see it. So, but there are people that can't. So, what they do is they just believe, not knowing that by in believing that they're real,
There it is.
physical things, they're doing harm to themselves and they're building them up too. Yeah, look at that thing.
There's people that write books and they have drawings in the books. Well, I have video footage of these things.
Yeah.
You got a show on TV. It's called what? Finding Bigfoot, and they
Yes.
can't find not even a picture, nothing. It's because they're going about the wrong ways of trying to search for it. I don't have to do that. I can go to the area where these people are investigating, and if something's there, it's going to surface up, and I'm going to capture it.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm different than a lot of people. I have the capabilities of capturing things that are around in spirit. Guess what? The Bigfoot, the Dogman, all those are the DDN, disembodied demonic influence. Sometimes I get lucky. I'll capture a spirit of a native. It used to be native land. They said that the Bigfoot will come. The native, the elders would say that Bigfoot was a demon, and that throughout the centuries, or that the Bigfoot or the demon will come and kidnap their children,
Right.
take them into the woods. Then when they come back, this children know they're like brujos and brujas. They know witchcraft and necromancy
Right.
because the demon taught them that.
Now, does our government play with things and make weird looking things also? I believe they do. But I don't think that they can perfect making a Bigfoot or perfect making a dogman. Usually when scientists play with things, they come out God only knows. A fish with two heads.
Look at that. Is that a good one right there? Look at that.
Yeah,
Right there.
very good.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean or nothing to anybody. Whatever opening you want to give yourself, just be careful. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah,
Be careful what you're listening to or what people are telling you. I'll tell you, believe in Jesus Christ because that's the only way.
yeah. And a
It's-
lot of them don't. I'm going to tell you, I know several of them that do that thing, and they have no spiritual aspect at all. And a matter of fact, I even heard one turn around and say, "I don't know why people believe in God. You know, what is that? If you can believe in God, you can believe in Bigfoot." And I'm like, "Yeah, but there are spiritual things involved in this." And I don't know, but they are giving them power. They are ramping them up by believing in them. And if somebody is not careful, one day they're going to get hurt.
well, the person holding the scepter that said he could control him, he's been out of the hospital for the past 2 years, always getting sick. Um, he hasn't, he needs to believe in Jesus Christ, ask God for forgiveness, and repent for believing in these things that are demonic.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what's causing him to be ill.
I mean, look, if they want to go around hunting Bigfoot, if they do it and if they go about it right and do what you do, just be quiet, calm, open your mind, and just film. But pray because you're going to need some help. Because I'm going to bet that if somebody did that and got captures like you, oh God, they would be messing all over themselves. So, look, see, I told you. Well, why didn't you see it with your naked eye, but you caught it with the camera?
All these things that were coming in numbers towards me is because they wanted me gone.
Yeah,
They wanted me destroy. They wanted to destroy me. They wanted to take me out. It was a spiritual hit. I have another picture where there's all kinds of activity in this picture. But yeah, it was a spiritual hit. They wanted me dead, but Jesus Christ did not forsake me. I kept my faith in Him, and I overcame Him. So that's why I got all these pictures. It was a spiritual battle. That's why I tell the people that I know what the Bigfoot, the Dogman, and all these cryptids are. They're demonic in nature.
yeah. I mean, look, that night that you and Jack went out there and they were surrounding you guys and everything that you caught, the ones with the candles in their hand, our little old hag. But
Yeah,
how do you explain this? You it is not physical, because if it was physical, you and Jack would have seen those and you would have seen their lights in front of their face. You didn't see them until after you got the video.
let me do a little prayer. We type on a rebuke anything negative from the picture I showed. We type on a rebuke. We place heavenly spiritual crypt, spiritual crosses on the picture, so nothing will transfer to the people that are viewing it. This we pray in Jesus Christ's name. Yeah, man, it was so hot and heavy that day.
Mm,
Well, all these images that I have, Sister Brenda, that image, the image of the fairy, the image of the leprechaun, the
yep,
image of I have that. Just remember the shirt, right? I have a that shirt on that day on that one video. I capture a plethora, right,
yep,
of things that are around me. Like I said, they wanted me gone, just kind of like the people that worship them.
yeah.
They want
Well,
me gone out of the Bigfoot community. They want me gone out of any platform. They don't want me to talk about it. They want me gone because uh, I'm awakening people spiritually of what they
right.
truly are.
And and it's just like the picture that Joel sent you when his dog was acting up and he was taking the film and just going around. And what happened? You found that witch that was standing there, just standing there, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they have to they have to let their God-given gifts, because everybody has them. But if you stay focused on, I'm going to go out and let this, Bigfoot throw rocks at me, and I'm going to catch photographs of them, and on a level that they believe that they are flesh and blood, they're never going to open up to what is really going on and what it really is. Never.
Because they're being used. They're being these people. Some of these individuals, they're bonded. I'll be honest with you. They're bonded, getting to believe that they're real. And once they got the bondage over them, they have control over that vessel, and
Yes.
they're going to use that vessel to the to do to the best of their abilities. Some of these people don't even know that they have negative attachments on them,
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
and then some do. If you're out there running around with a scepter and a mineral on the scepter, yeah, they do.
Yeah. Earlier today, when I woke up, I went in to go use the bathroom, and something passed me in my house, and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, but I could feel that it was here. So I came out and I started moving slowly around the house, and I was looking, and I seen it again, and it went through my front door and it left. I was like, oh boy, here we go again. But when this stuff is around, it's around all the time. Now, not everything that is around you is bad, because we all have those angels. Well, how did I put it? You have you we all have that angel that sits on your shoulder that can help protect you. But you've got to be aware of what's going on around you, and you got to know how to deal with it. But maybe ignorance is a blessing for some people, you know? That might just be it. They'll never ever get harmed because, well, they're looking for something flesh and blood, so they ain't gonna pay no attention to what's really around them. So I don't know. But like I said, it might be something fun. They just like to gather with people, and because that's the only reason why my friend's going, to go hang out with all the people he hasn't seen in a while. You know, sit outside in the woods, have a campfire, drink a couple beers, barbecue some food. So they might enjoy that. Okay, but I could think of better reasons to get together with people and have a beer in the woods, looking for something that can probably kick your butt
Oh,
from here to
they do
eternity.
have all kinds of festivals. They got horror festivals and all
Hmm.
this kind of things. Uh, I understand people do it because it's something that they're interested in, or something that they might be believing in because they've heard stories and this and that. Uh, I'm just telling you that these things that are out there. Telling you what they are.
Yeah,
You know, whether people, I've seen them out there in Chalkridge Falls where they're pretty tall, and they're in spirit form. They manifest themselves, and you can see how big they are. They're looking at me, and they're running in numbers like threes, fours, six, moving through the woods. I seen them when I was like, it was me, my friend, my son when he was like around 5, and my daughter's, uh, uh, my friend's daughter, and they took off running on us, and we were like trying to look for them because they look. When we went up to them, they were, check it out, Sister Brenda. This is in Chalkridge Falls. We found them, and we found them, they were sit, they were sitting on the edge of a freaking, like a drop. that's like, I don't know, it was far down. They were sitting on the edge of the wood of the what do you call it? The ridge
The cliff?
with their feet hanging,
Oh,
sitting on there. And then I went up to them, son, come here, son, get over here. And I was like, fuck, I don't know how to approach them. And they were like in a uh, hypnotic state. It's a different time. This is in Chocolate Falls. So I was able to get them and pull them out of the corner safely. And I gave them, told my friend to grab them. I said, let's get out of here. I started praying the Our Father, and I looked down. It was a big drop, Sister Brenda. That if, man,
yeah.
I'll just do the sign of the cross. It was a big drop that this things, I'm telling you, they
Did
have the
they
ability to
did they,
possess.
did they ever say what they saw or what led
No,
them there?
they don't remember. They don't remember. They were like in a hypnotic state. Like they
Yeah.
don't remember being that close to the edge. They don't remember that there was a drop. When people say that people disappear in the woods, well, I know how they disappear
Yeah.
in the woods. They're being possessed by this DDN, and they're making them disappear. Of course, there's a lot of wild animal out there and stuff that if a person dies, they're gonna eat, and there's gonna be nothing left.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I've been trying to go back to that area, but I haven't been able to make it back to the area where I got shoved off the ridge, because the area when that happened is further up the further up. But it's just for some reason that I go into that area, it's like they don't want me there.
Yeah.
They don't want me to go up in there. That it's like they prevent me to go up there, and I feel a lot of heaviness on me, like what happened last time, that my leg was hurting real bad because it felt so heavy, like I had a lot of weight on me.
Yeah.
But one day I told my brother, one day we'll go, but when we go, I'll be ready, and I'll make sure I have the right items, the right equipment, and
Yeah.
just be ready to fight spiritually. But some of this areas, things happened there in the past. That's why this uh, unclean spirits or spirits, Indian burial grounds, or possibly the ones that they call the ones. They call them the ones from ritual blood sacrifices, where the former circle, the natives would form a circle and cut the wrist when when the other natives were coming to kill them. So instead of dying in the hands of the enemy, the father would cut the wrist of each family member and his, and they will all die as a family. So out of the blood sacrifice ritual, from the center of the circle, when the sun would rise, the one would rise, which was like a demigod, which it has a demigod, but demon, which he has the abilities to manifest with the elements of Mother Nature itself, to take form with the elements, branches, trees, whatever, rocks, water, whatever's there, leaves, it can manifest.
Yeah. And
Now, I'm just an example. So when people tell me that people are doing festivals, well, what are they worshiping? Right?
and taking
I know they do it.
children.
I know they do it because, well, let's go to the Bigfoot festival. Let's go to, because it's something that they're believing in, but they're not. They're saying partial truth. They're not saying the whole truth of what's really out there.
Yeah. So you think a lot of them know, they just don't speak it.
Uh,
I wonder
if
if
they don't,
maybe
if they don't speak it, then if they know and they don't speak it, then what are they believing in?
that's true. That is very true.
It's because that's what they are about. That's what they believe in. That's why you don't see Brother Ape says in too many Bigfoot community groups, because I'm not believing what they believe in. I'm telling you the spiritual truth of what I witnessed. I'm just telling you my testimony. what I witnessed. And it's one thing is saying something, but I got the proof. I got pictures and I got videos of these things that
Right.
are out there. Compared
Well,
to some of these people, the only thing they do is got books that they write and pictures that they draw, but they don't got no physical evidence or pictures or nothing.
yeah. Well, Josh, now, Josh knows about the DDN and stuff, right? So when you went to the PRT convention, and what do they say when Josh tells them that stuff too?
At that time, he didn't talk too much about that. They were talking more about Bigfoot than anything. Some of Dogman. I talked about the spiritual aspect. They got me to be on a panel, so I just talked a little bit of what I thought these things were, and that was it. I didn't show no pictures or no evidence, but I have the evidence. I have
Right.
the film. Where you can literally see things in the move. You know,
Yeah.
but I was just there as he invited me, so I went. And I think they ruffled a lot of feathers over there from these people. I mean, they was already targeting him. The me, I was injured that day. I was trying to, when you step in the trash can to press the trash in so you can put more trash.
Yeah.
Well, I was holding the trash can like this, and my stepson was in the trash can, and the trash can whipped, and I got hit right on my foot.
Oh.
Man, my foot got swollen and everything. That I was in pain, and I told my wife on that Friday when we are gonna leave because she wanted to go. She was gonna take me. I was like, I don't want to let Brother Josh, you know, down. I don't want to let him down. My foot is hurting real bad. It's kind of like that right there by itself. Maybe I should have took it as a warning not to go, but uh, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna take some painkillers and we're going. So I was out there with an injured foot. My left leg, I had injured it. Nobody knew about that, but that's why I'm one of those people that I can sense spiritually. So there was people there that had negative attachments. There was a woman that I prayed for to free her from the negative attachment that she had. That she came up to me, she was crying. When people cry, what transfers through the tear ducts? Unclean
Yeah.
spirits.
Yep.
And I knew what I was dealing with, so I prayed for her. Tie banner rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. The whatever was causing her to feel the way she was feeling. She supposedly later on said she felt a lot better, thank you, and all this stuff. I think her husband was the one that said that he killed the dog man, that he was a trucker that killed the dog man, right? But she would tell me that there was activity in her house, and things were moving things in her house and showing themselves in her house. So I pray for all that. So that's telling me of what the husband encountered. Followed him home.
Right.
He followed him home, and there was activity started happening in their house. So how is a dead dog man going to do this? It's because it wasn't something that was in the flesh. It was something that was in the spirit, a DDN.
Right. And they attach themselves to you. That's how they end up in your home. You kind of like drag them along with you.
Yeah,
So once it gets in your home, it starts causing havoc and everything else.
because I heard his story because he talked about it, but then I heard her story, which was his wife, and I prayed for her because she had a negative attachment on her. But I put two together. He was the one that supposedly shut the dog man, and then she was seeing all those things at our house, and I put it together that it was dealing with the same thing, but it was more of a demonic
Right.
that what he shot at he didn't kill it because he took it back home because it attached itself to him. So I pray for her,
Yeah,
him,
you don't
her,
want
and
things.
the family. I pray for all of them. They were all there in the conference.
Yeah, you don't want things in your house that you don't know anything about or that you don't know how to deal with. And like I said, if more people believed in Jesus like they do Bigfoot, this world would probably be a better place.
Yeah, that's why I figured that when he said that he shot the, I mean, I'm not going to say he didn't shot it or anything, but uh, he didn't kill it because it attached itself to him, and then he took it home.
Right,
He was acting strange there, so I prayed for him too, because I prayed for the whole family. For the daughter was there, there was a son. I prayed for all of them at the conference. Yeah, those demons, man, they attach themselves to people, and once they're in their house, if the person don't know how to get rid of them spiritually, then they're going to be running havoc inside their homes and their lives and cause all kinds of problems.
right. That is correct. I have had a long day today, Abe.
Wow.
I once again I fell asleep last night and then I woke up at 5:30 this morning and just could not go back to sleep for nothing.
I just updated my profile picture on Facebook. I put the picture that they made us take before we even went to basic. Before, I mean, it was during when we were doing basic, but a picture of me when I was younger with my dress screens. I just posted it. It's what is it? Veterans Weekend or what is it?
Yeah, I know Buddha had said something about going to eat
Yeah.
this weekend.
Well, I don't know the it's this weekend or it's on the 11th when they have the free meals. It's on the 11th. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Yeah, he said he was going to go to three different places, so I guess he's planning on eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna do all that this year, but I used to hit up the McDonald's, Wendy's. Let me see, uh, Buffalo Wings. I think it's Buffalo Wings or one of those places. Applebee's, Chili's, Texas Roadhouse, Golden Corral. Man, there's a lot of people that honor the veterans.
Yeah,
Free meals.
yep. Golden Corral is usually the
IHOP
one.
for breakfast, or Denny's for breakfast for the veterans.
I might be able to talk my caregiver into going out to eat to the Golden Corral. We haven't been there in a while, and he's
Yeah,
a
Golden
veteran.
Corral has it at a certain date. They always do it differently than on the day of the veterans. They give us a different date, but yeah, I always have fun. But I'm just probably Texas Roadhouse and maybe Denny's for breakfast.
No, I haven't been to Texas Roadhouse for a while either.
Yeah,
There's a couple times I called in an order and we just went and picked it up, so I didn't have to go to the restaurant itself. Sometimes that's just easier for me, but I think that with the veterans thing, you have to eat there.
yeah, yeah. You have to eat there. Uh, Several places. There's another one that's right there near Target and Temple that he does the same thing. They're just different kinds of food. I know it's kind of like Louisiana Cajun food or something that he does that for the veterans also. Uh, but yeah, imagine Temple has see three McDonald's, one, two, three, four McDonald's.
Yeah,
They do the breakfast thing. The Wendy's do the breakfast things. So that's a lot of riding around.
yeah.
heating up everything and then just put all the food on the stove. But I don't know if I'll be doing that this year.
Seeing we have that cancel culture and they make all these different days, I want somebody to come up with a fat one-legged lady day so I can go eat for free. That would be me. Can I go? Ah, things are so crazy right now. Uh, and my landlord messaged me earlier. She's like, "Are you outside?" And I said, "No, I'm sitting here at my computer." She said, "I thought I heard your dog outside barking." I said, "No, my little dog doesn't go out without me, one thing." I said, "We haven't been out." She's like, "Brenda, there is a dog barking that sounds just like you." And I said, "Well, it's not him, so don't go looking for it, whatever you do. Just stay in your house. You'll be all right." Because we don't really have little dogs that run loose around here. One time, I had a girl knock on the door. She had a small little black chihuahua in her hand. She's like, "Did you guys lose a black chihuahua?" And we're like, "No, but if you don't find a home, just bring it back here. I'll take it. I'll take it in." I don't like loose dogs, but yeah, if she was hearing my dog, I told her, don't go looking for it because it's not him. He's in the house. I don't know what you're looking for,
You know,
but just don't go do it.
they can mimic those. Besides the DDN, disembodied demon and Nephilim, the ones that learn from them, which will be shapeshifter skinwalkers, they have the abilities to mimic. Also, they can mimic. I was out there investigating one time. You know how Rebel makes a certain noise when he's whining a little bit. Well, I heard the me and my brother heard the same noise. We're investigating, and he
Yeah.
looked at me, and we looked at each other. Say, I know they've done it before. It sounds like Rebel doing it. I say, yep, making the same noise Rebel makes. It's like then as we kept on walking, we started hearing a wind chime out there, noise of a wind chime. They can mimic noises. They can mimic noises of lawnmowers, weed eaters. I mean, you name it. They can mimic all that.
Now, if I heard a lawnmower going in the middle of the night around here, I would definitely just be coming right
Well,
back in the house.
I've heard it. I've heard it before, Sister Brenda.
Yeah.
I've heard lawnmowers in the middle of the night in front of my yard. I've heard weed eaters going off, but I know it's them that they mimic those noises. They can do that.
Did Joel say he was going? Are you going into the military? Is
No,
that what you're doing?
Joel used to be in the military,
Oh,
but over there in the UK,
oh,
he's from over. He's from the UK.
yeah. The UK ain't doing so good either right now. Joel? Do you want me to adopt you and your wife so you can just come here? I think we can still do that now. We can do grown adoptions. My friend that lives in Australia, he tells me that all the time. He's 3 years older than me, and he always tells me, "Why don't you adopt me so I can come over there?" Sure, why not?
Look, and I'm gonna say something before. I don't want to. I'm not trying to offend anybody in any kind of shape or form, brothers and sisters. I'm just telling you my spiritual truth of what I've witnessed and what I've captured on footage.
Right.
That these things are out there and they move in unclean spirit form. They move very rapidly. They use the elements to maneuver around you, to blend in, but to move. In the video when me and Jack were, you could see it moving.
Yep.
Maybe I'll share that. Sure, I'll share the footage where it's moving and you can see all the faces, the different manifestations that it has.
Yeah.
They have
That that whole
extraordinary.
that whole night, you guys got a lot of good stuff that night.
Well, let me share the footage of the Bruja.
Yeah.
Let me share that one since it's Lechuza Bruja.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we got here? Roland Malone woke up and heard something walking on the roof. I said, "Hey, you hear that?" And she was like, "Yeah." She told me to shh, and we went to sleep. We stayed on the south side of town. Where was this, Roland Malone? Okay.
I was at work one night and I heard something walking on the roof, and then the dog inside the office was going crazy. So, in Houston, Texas, Abe. So I went and looked out the door, and yeah, I had something walking on the roof all right. It was a big old mountain lion out in the parking lot.
A mountain lion?
Yeah, in Nolanville,
Oh wow.
over by where they had a goat farm, obviously. It was after that. But it was walking around in the parking lot, and it was a male, and he was spraying people's cars like how cats spray. And the dog
Yeah.
wanted out. The boss had a cattle dog inside, a healer, and I was telling her, "Nope, you ain't going outside. I'm sorry." I could see my boss coming in the morning, and he says, "Where's my dog?" Well, I let her out last night, and a mountain lion ate her. But yeah, it was crazy. I didn't think it
He's-
would come that close into a town, you know.
He said it happened in San Antonio.
In San Antonio.
You
Huh.
probably heard probably heard of Lechuza because that's
Y-
they land on top of the roofs.
Yeah.
You know, some people call them harpies because they have the face of a woman. Oh, some of them have a face of a woman or whatever manifestation to take, but then some have the face of the la bruja,
Yeah.
lechuza.
Those are the ones that have like the like witch looking face with a beak and their bodies look like owls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have a video. Uh, Did I create a short reel? I think created a short reel of La Bruja.
Yeah.
I had to get to it.
You know, if I ever seen anything like that, I'd be looking at it going, you're far away from home. Bohemian Grove is that way. Go back where you came from.
Yeah, I don't think they like me talking about what I talk about, Sister Brenda. That's why they come. Tried
Oh,
to discourage me from what I do.
well,
Here you go. Here's a. I'm gonna share the picture of La Bruja
oh, you got her.
of a YouTube spiritual encrypted encounter short reels on YouTube. So let me make it bigger.
That's her whole body.
There's a full body operation right there. Uh, I have a flashlight. I'm shining because I could hear something beside me, so I shine to see if I capture anything while I'm recording. It's like I literally have my phone like this with a flashlight right beside the phone like this, just like this, and there she is.
Yep.
So we're gonna. That's her. I'm showing you the full picture, and I'm fixing to show her face right now,
Yeah.
if it allows me, which should be upward. There it is.
There she be. With her candle in her hand. And the funny thing of it is you didn't see the lights that they were holding. You didn't see the candles, did you? All you could,
No.
yeah,
Well, I was seeing some kind of light, like a orb light. That's what it seemed like yellow yellow orbs or some
yeah.
kind of orb, but then it would disappear. And I was seeing something like that, orb-like things, or some kind of energy. Just put it that way. There she is.
Yeah, look at
What did we did we give her a name?
her. I don't know. I know we were calling her that we were saying she was an old hag, but I don't remember. I think we
Yeah.
did.
The harpies and sirens are their sisters because they're the ones that created the Nephilim. They're the ones that slept with the Watchers. There were women that slept with the Watchers, but then when they did that, they changed form, which became harpies and sirens.
Wow. She was not hard to find when you pulled that picture up the first time. She just stands right out.
You want to jump on, Roland? Let's drop a link. Maybe you can share with us because I know about you talking about the cuandero. I know curanderas and curanderos, or I grew up with the curanderas, and of course there was brujas, brujos, and all these freaking lechuzas flying around down in the up the Rio Grande Valley, South Texas is where I was born. But I'll drop a link here for you, man, if you want to jump on.
Yeah, come on up with us. And I
You
made
wanna you wanna share a story because I remember this what they would do when there's a spiritual hit. They got their they come in numbers, and wherever they were told they were sent to go and cause chaos and havoc. If it's directed at a family, they'll go in numbers. Yeah, there's
mm-mm-mm.
a link right there. Just click on the link and you can jump on if you like. Yeah, he's talking. Roland is talking about folk healing.
You know,
Yeah, curanderas, they were healed with herbs and stuff like that. Well,
I
that's how.
should.
No, that's normally how it was done in the back in the day. It's through herbs, through remedies.
Well, as far as the hag is concerned, right here, I made spaghetti for dinner, some homemade sauce, and had to pull my leaves out. So it's got herbs in it. If she's hungry, I can make her some spaghetti. She looks a little pale. She might need a little food.
She
You
don't
know,
look like she looks different than last time, right?
I was going to tell you. I look at her and it's like I see something that goes around her head and down like a habit, like the nuns wear.
Yeah.
It That's kind of what it looks like to me. She does look a little different. She changed while she was on TikTok.
Uh, there she is. I
Yeah.
thought you could see more light towards her face, but uh, let me stop sharing her.
That's Jack's date. Remember?
All right.
He had a date and didn't even know it.
Yeah, he's working right now.
Well, they
There she
just flip
is.
flop him from days to nights all the time, huh?
She's like, la. She's dancing there. Look at that.
Dance.
I think she's trying to run away from the light. You know, the flashlight I had today ran out of battery power. It drained the battery that night. It drained it completely.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yep. Here they are floating in with all their little mini faces,
This is the one that were flanking me from the left.
right?
There's one, and there's another one that I got from when they're coming from the right. You can see the beastly faces in there
Yeah,
where they're trying to manifest to look beastly. Let me go in there and try to. Well, I don't know if I can lower down the footage. Okay, we'll go frame by frame, see what we can do here. That's crazy how they I was able to capture this.
I know.
Look at that.
No, no wind blowing, no nothing. Because at first I thought, well, did somebody kick dirt? But then I looked around and nothing's moving. Nothing is moving. I think even you were sitting still as they floated by, standing still while you were
Yeah,
recording.
right there, try to take like a beastly form. Yeah, there's many in there. I'm gonna go slow it down a little bit. Look at that. Talking about paranormal activity. Look at it. Whee! Me and my brother were out there with no in the woods in the dark. Look at that. Look at that manifestation.
Yeah, those things drain Jack real fast.
Yeah, let me see if there's any other ones from the. Oh, wrong. I don't know why they got commercials here now.
Yeah, they've got them all over. It's like YouTube. You can pay to not have commercials, but they still have them. So I don't even pay YouTube. I figure it's gonna end up having commercials anyways. Why bother?
Look at the one moving there, Sister Brenda.
Maybe they were having a dance party. That's what you guys interrupted. They were having a
Right there.
gathering.
It was looking this way.
Yep.
That's the regular speed. Oh, oh, commercial. What's this? This is the one that's making that noise, that like a rattlesnake sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Look at it, how big that is running over there. That's what I heard moving. That's why I hit it with a flashlight. I was using my senses and I could hear where like something running. So I grabbed my flashlight to where I hear the running, and there it is. I was able to capture it. You really gotta be like in stealth mode and pay attention and listen. That's how I was able to capture it. Look, it was running away from me, but I caught it with a light.
And patient. You gotta be patient.
Look at that. Boom. He's like, fuck, he got me. How did he do that?
He seen me. Get behind the bush.
Run, go, go, go.
Yeah, you forgot to close your eyes though. You can still see
Good.
that.
Oh shit, he got me. Oh, let me hide, let me hide. And this is in slow motion
Right.
because on the regular speed on the regular video, it's only 1 second. It moves real fast.
We know there in that video there was a couple of them witches. The our little hag witch with the white face that's holding the candle. There was another one
Oh
and
yeah,
a guy. There was a male one. Yeah.
yeah. I think I have the images of them. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to you. Okay, who we got here? There he is. There's Roland.
Mhm.
How you doing, Roland?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Alrighty. Just sharing the some videos. I couldn't see you were in the lobby, so I
Oh,
just
okay.
came back because I
Yeah,
was on the YouTube.
right. Yeah, I'm new to this too, so I don't know. Just working it. So yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm from Houston originally. So my last name is Irish because they're Catholic in Mexico and all that stuff and everything. But raised that way. I was raised. My grandmother on my dad's side, from the inner city of Houston. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We're from it's called Alacran, the old
Alacran.
Alacran, the Scorpion, Second Ward area of Houston, mostly Mexican. Um, it's got if you go there now, one of the roads, you can still see the brick roads back in the 1900s. So Houston's got a lot of deep history and everything in that. But anyhow, so, growing up, I never really went to the hospital until I was like 15 or 16. My grandmother on my dad's side stayed with my father, of course. Uh, so I remember one time she had made like literally like a necklace of garlic and some other stuff put on my neck. And I, like, it was normal for me, to get food, sopas and things like that. And it was normal. And my grandmother would tell me these stories from Mexico, like a lot of the traditional that you've heard about. And my grandfather, they would tell me these stories and stuff that happened actually in Houston around where we stayed. It's very old and very antiquated and stuff. Like now, all the gentrification looks different, but if you grew up there, you would know. And so growing up, like I said, I grew up with my grandmother a lot and my grandfather, and they would tell me stories from Mexico. They're from northern Mexico, around Nuevo Leon.
Yep.
So they're around from that area, and a lot of my family there. They moved back. They moved to Laredo because of the cartels. They had stores there and stuff, so we would go visit back before 2000, the year 2000 and before. But now, I mean, it's a different kind of setting, and all the muerte, death, muerte, and that principality out there is very
Yeah.
strong.
What do you call it? La Santa Muerte.
Santa Muerte, yeah. So that stuff is all strong and stuff. And I mean, I'm going off topic on that, but a lot of people ask
It's
about
dealing
that.
with the same. It's good because it's dealing all with that. There's a
Yeah,
lot of where they some of those females that were in charge of that Santa Muerte. They were killing children and everything over there in Mexico.
right. Yeah, and I tell people that,
One
and they
got
look at.
caught got
Go ahead, go
caught
ahead.
coming trying to cross the border into the United States.
Hmm.
That she was
And,
fleeing Mexico because they were looking for her,
oh wow.
and they caught her. They caught her at the border.
Oh no.
Yeah, some dealing with the Santa Muerte that they were. She was doing blood rituals with children.
Oh my gosh. It's insane. Yeah, my cousin, he would told me about that. He dabbled in that back. Oh, he told me this story back in 2000 when I was stationed in Fort Sam over there in San Antonio at the time.
San
I
Antonio.
still have family in San Antonio that live there, so I go visit once in a while. And he would tell me stories and things that would go on and things. And when I was telling you about the Lechuza, so at the time I was with my girl, and we stayed at her place. And the home was built in like the 1900s to early 1800s. I mean, late 1800s. Very old home. Um, and I don't know if it was the summertime. I don't remember. I don't recall. But I woke up and I heard footsteps on the roof above our room. I was like, "Do you hear that?" And she was like, her eyes were closed, and I know she was awake. She wasn't ignoring me. I said, "Did you hear that?" And it was walking. I was like, "That's not a squirrel. The foot pattern. I don't know how a better way to say it. When it would touch the roof, it sounded like an actual weight bearing, like of a child.
Yeah,
And it's walking literally above our heads. And I asked her, "Hey, anybody in your family, do you have any hatred or whatever? Do any brujeria on you or whatever?" She said no. She said she might, but she didn't know. Anyway, that freaked me out. And it's interesting because it just came to my head the other day. I was like, "Oh yeah, that I forgot about that. That actually happened." Life, and at the time I was reserve Navy. I retired now, but
my
life.
brother. I had a, well, my brother was in the Navy also. When were you in the Navy?
So I enlisted in '97 and got medically retired in 2014.
I think my brother was in there around the same time frame you were in. He was
Oh
stationed in
wow.
San Diego,
Oh yeah, yeah. I was there for
by
about 5 years.
Imperial Beach.
Oh, nice, nice. I know he loved it. The weather's great. I think everybody
Yep.
goes there for the weather. Other than that, the laws and everything are crazy. But yeah, they told me stories over there too. I don't know if your brother told you over there's San Isidro, Otay Mesa. They have a lot of Bigfoot encounters. A lot of the border patrol. They would tell stuff, and they have key words that they use. I know here in Texas and
Chupacabras too, no?
Louisiana, huh?
So they're dealing with chupacabras. I seen something follow me, man, because I want to go to visit my brother,
Uh
and I
huh.
was coming to the, back. I drove over there, and I was driving
Yeah,
back, and I seen something, man, pass right in front of my car, man, in the desert. Just huge, just ran right in front of me. Like I was looking at it, like, what the hell is that?
yeah,
But it was running on fours, so I said maybe it's just a big old coyote. I don't know what it was, but I know
yeah.
there's a lot of tales of shapeshifter skinwalkers are all around that area because I went through New Mexico. Was it New Mexico through Arizona? I went. I don't know which way I went, but there was a lot of desert when I went. I drove from Texas all the way over there to visit them.
Oh yeah, you took the 8, that long stretch of highway. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
desolate, man. I told up there.
So what you said they have Bigfoot sightings over there?
Yeah,
I
man.
know a guy
They do. They do.
from Breaking Bad. He said he had an encounter with a Bigfoot in New Mexico or something like that.
Yeah. So I
I can't
know
remember his name.
the border patrol guys. Some of them will talk to you. Some won't because they'll lose their career just like anything. They will tell
Yeah.
you that they had sightings, and they said if you want to keep your career, it's a GS career, government career, and they don't make much money, but it's a good job and security. If you want to keep your career, you'd be quiet about it, And so this is something they know. They just how it is. They just don't say anything. So you would have to key in keywords, like I said before. Like if you go towards Beaumont, towards that way, there's a lot of the big thicket is what they call it out here,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, oh, you seen a black cow. Those are keywords and things like that. They know already what you're talking about, but they're not going to acknowledge it. And I know I live now. I live in I'm in Houston now. I live in the Pasadena area where a lot of my family is. A lot of Hispanos and stuff like that. But I lived in New Caney, and New Caney is like a suburb above Humble, Texas. If you're familiar with it, going towards Lake Livingston and north towards Dallas. And so it goes through the Sam Houston National Forest and all the big thicket and things. And I've heard stories out there, but there's some people that won't tell me, and I know what they've seen. But um, because we're starting to push into the forest and whatnot, a lot of everybody wants to move to Texas because no state tax and whatever
We're
have you from the
closed.
East Coast and West Coast. Yeah,
Texas is
exactly. Try to tell
closed.
them that. And so they had the big triangle, Dallas, San Antonio,
Yeah.
and Houston. And so they're pushing into a lot of if you come here, you'll see signs saying, "Oh, you get like 25 acres for only like maybe $20,000." It's like a dream come true. And I'm like, well, that's going into a lot of the lands where it's government and things like that. And so I'm thinking a lot of people are seeing a lot of sightings and things of that nature. And so I stayed up there. I personally didn't see anything, but ever since I was a kid, I would tell people. So big little quick story on me. I was supposed to be dead before I was born. My mom had told me, and growing up, I always felt different. And a lot of my family members would talk to me and things like that. And I would tell people when I was in third grade and fourth grade, I would tell them like a week before, I would go to them and tell them, you're going to wear this watch, this clothes in a week's time. And they would laugh at me and ignore me. And I came and I would touch them. I said, look what you're wearing. And they would call me a freak and things like that. And, me parece como güeros, como normal, como nosotros, como indios, así. I'd be like, okay, whatever. So I just said, whatever, and I told God, I don't want to know this stuff anymore because they would think I was weird. And so at that time, I just, put it out of my head. And then as I, now the way things are going now, I don't know if the veil's getting thin or whatever. I'm starting to have more
Yeah,
dreams and
yeah,
things.
the veil is lifting, brother. It's been lifted. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
And oh, and so my tia, she had just passed. She was a babalao. She would go to other countries, and she would tell me, she would go, because you have to get the velas, the animal fat candles instead of getting the other for the limpiantas, stuff like that. I don't know if people are familiar with that. And so, she would tell me about that stuff and what to do, and I'd said, and I kind of feel bad, but I said, you know what, Thea, tell me what's going on in my life. And she would tell you, okay, give me the name, the birth date, and something else, and she'll find out. And she was pretty much on point, man. And I tell people, I was like, yeah, man, she's pretty much on point. I don't know what else to tell you and things like that. But she had passed away, and I think she wanted to do the teachings for me because I'm kind of interested in the Guandero kind of stuff, but I'm kind of nervous about it. And it's interesting because my kids, it skips kids on my family, on my side. My kids, like my daughter, she can see things. I remember one night when I lived in San Diego, when I was stationed there, we lived near it was 15 north, or you go 50, I think it's the 15 going north. Well, anyway, and at that time we were, you know, just there and everything. And my daughter she must have been maybe 3 or 4 years old. My older daughter was 9. They were sleeping in their room, and I passed by their room, and their eyes were huge, man. They were looking at me like this, and I was like, "What is
Oh,
wrong with them?" I was like, "What is wrong with them?" And I just passed by, went to turn off all the lights, make sure all the doors are locked, And I came back, and they were like this, asleep. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" So I went to my room. I thought nothing of it. Went to work, Naval Medical Center, and then asked my kids. I say, "What's going on? Why did you look like? Do you remember Dad walking through?" She goes, "Yeah, Dad. We saw these two tall men in our room. They had big, long T-shirts. They were white, and it went from their shoulders all the way to their ankles." I was like, "You saw two men?" I said, "I didn't see anybody there." And it's like they saw two men. Their head hit the ceiling. One of them she said, was African American. The other one was kind of like an Asian looking. And she said, "Yeah, Dad, they had these long T-shirts. Like, you know how you have your white T-shirt?" Because I was in the military at the time. And she goes, "Yeah, it looks like that." And I said, "Oh, okay, Ruth. Okay, Mommy. Okay, go to bed." I didn't think anything of it. And so all of these stories are starting to come back to my head, as we.
oh,
Oh,
you let me drop a. We lost them.
yeah, you can put out another link, see if maybe.
Should I refresh the link?
Um, yeah, probably. Hi, Rain.
Uh, Let me refresh the link. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I
Okay,
don't know. I
let me.
decided to get me a little something to eat while he came on, and I had to mute myself so my dogs wouldn't beg and bother everybody.
Let me. Oh, there he is.
Oh, wow.
That It's weird
Yeah.
because I start talking about this stuff. I remember I was talking to my uncle about something, this stuff on my dad's side, and we get cut off on the phone. It's weird. We would talk about supernatural experiences, and all of a sudden it'd be cut off.
Yes.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, I have more stories I can tell you that happened to
Yeah, man.
me.
Go ahead, man. Share whatever you want to share. On
Okay, okay.
Fridays, it's
I can.
just a
I'll tell
Bruja
you.
Fridays.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you on my dad's side because you know how
Yeah, yeah.
Spanish talk. We have mom's side and dad's side. On my dad's side, like I said, I was raised with my grandmother, and that home we lived in Houston was built in the late 1800s. So that area, Houston, was one of the wards. And if anybody knows Houston, a lot of the oil industry, because of the ship channel that's there, a lot of the railroad and everything was building up and everything like that. So their home was very old and very, rickety and things like that. And I remember my grandfather was a big teddy bear. My grandfather said, "Don't ever touch your mom." He was talking to my uncles. "Come and mess with me and wrestle with me. Don't ever touch your mom." And we grew up like that. We grew up, big family. Every Sunday we had, menudo, caldo, and things like that, and go to church. And then everybody else would go their own way, but we'd come and play football and stuff like that. And I remember my grandfather, he would always sit in the big couch and the room, in the living room was a big window. And I was little, and I remember talking to him, saying, "Hey, Grandpa, you're gonna build a big shield, protect it." He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna build a big shield." And I see he was be all kind of like a big jolly man. Kind of find out he had owned land uh, in a certain area of Houston. If you're familiar with anybody listening from Houston,
Somebody
so
was here saying something about Roland Malone. They said that my brother's wife is from Houston. Are you familiar with Harrisburg
oh yeah,
by the
Magnolia,
Fuller's
yeah, that's
Coffee
old Hispanic
Factory?
town, yeah, Magnolia. Uh,
He said there
Mac,
was a witch
Maxwell,
wizard, 22nd ward by the name of Nico. He passed away in
yeah, I know.
2016.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So we're familiar with So what he's talking about, actually, where I lived off of Walker and Cullen Street. So they're on there, they know what I'm talking about. Basically, what he's talking about is the Maxwell House Company. I don't know if you guys remember Maxwell Coffee at the time. So in Second
Yeah.
Ward, you know where you were from by Maxwell House. It's a huge building, and you can smell the coffee in the morning. And if you drove down towards the freeway 45, you could smell the Baird's bread. So it was like you can smell that stuff. And the panaderia was down the street, so we'd get sweet
Oh
bread and
yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, it was like that. I remember our home. I keep going off topic, but there was a cantina on the back, and we had people that were drunk jump over my grandma's fence and stuff like that. And long story, but anyway, back to where getting back to. So my grandmother would tell my uncles, my cousin, 'cause she had a lot. My uncles, there was a lot more boys than girls. She only had two girls, and like the rest were boys, you know. And she would tell my uncle Manuel and my dad Rogelio Roger. He was like, "Don't go out because they were, it was the '70s. There were gigolos and stuff like that." She said, "If you go out, you're going to see something you're going to be scared of." And so they were like, "Whatever, mom." So they went out, and everybody knows the story of my family. They just don't want to talk about it. And so they went. So my house, and the grandmother's house, there's a driveway, and the other side, it's the fence to the neighbor's house, and it's a really small pathway to get to the back of the house, and that's how they would sneak into their room. And my grandmother's room was right there, and you can smell jasmines because she planted them there. She had a big garden with roses and everything. She would always get up in the morning, plant her garden, go clean up, just like how it
Yeah.
would be. And you can smell the jasmines at night. Well, this night, my uncle had mentioned to my dad as they were coming home around 2 or 3 in the morning, "Hey, you don't smell the jasmines?" He's like, "Oh, you're crazy, Manuel. You're just drunk. Let's get in home before mom finds out we're out." As soon as they get to the spot, literally, my dad and he can confirm this. He gets quiet when he tells me now, but he doesn't want to acknowledge it. And I've asked him many of times. He said as soon as they hit the spot, they saw a silhouette of a woman, like literally, but they could smell sulfur
Oh
in a
man.
gown. And as soon as that, they said the woman turned her head. It had a head of a horse,
Wow.
and it scared the shit out. They ran. They literally jumped in through the window and slept on the floor. And my grandmother came in that morning because she would always get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, to make cafe and tortillas, whatever the breakfast was that morning. She said, "Y'all saw it, huh?" She went right to him. "Y'all saw it, huh?" She goes, "How'd you know, mom? How'd you know?" "Because y'all smell like sulfur. I told you guys not to leave." And ever since then, I don't know if they converted or whatnot, but it's a running joke for them. They would, uh, my uncle, he passed away. My dad had a stroke. But they were like,
Sorry to hear
"Oh
that,
yeah,
brother.
did you see?" Yeah, they would say, "Oh, did you see this?" Or "What do you smell?" And they would like, "Shut up, shut up, don't talk about that, don't talk about that." And then they would change the subject. Like, and to me, growing up, listening to this, I was like, "Oh, that's just weird." It was normal, but it was just weird. And so I have a lot of the stories my grandmother would tell me. She would tell me one time, uh, Lechuza. So where we live, there was the corner street, and there's Cullen. So whoever's listening from Houston, if you go further straight, you would hit Rusk Street, and then you would hit the railroad, and then you would hit Maxwell House. Well, at that corner street, my grandfather at the time, he would go and sit out the porch, and he saw a big ass owl. And my grandmother said, "Roy, get inside right now." And my grandfather's like, "For what?" I'm not gonna. He goes, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna call it down. And she said, don't do that. You're gonna make us have a heart attack. It's gonna kill us. And she was referring to that big ass owl on the
Lechuza.
yeah on
Was it
the
a black one
it was
or white?
it was a black
It's
one.
a black.
It
Yeah.
was on top of the power line pole, and so it was strong enough to hold it. And so she ran inside, locked the door, locked the door on my grandfather. And my grandfather was, he's from Nuevo Leon. He grew up there and stuff like that. And well, my backstory on my grandfather, big teddy bear. Uh, they were at a point where they were poor, so he said, you know what, I'm gonna work for the family. So he'd come across to Texas, work, and then bring the money home to his mom and stuff like that. So everybody looked up to him like the big brother, like he was like the tree, the outer wall of the whole family, the root. So anyway, he goes, I'm gonna call it down. So he went to get a rope, tied the 12th knot. It fell and bam, hit the street. It had a and it walked to them. And the reason I know the story because my uncle Roy Jr. was there, and he told me. He said that creature walked to my grandfather and said, "What do you want? Release me, because the sun is coming up. Release me." And my grandfather said, "Bring me a big old thing of chiles." And they said, "Okay, release me before I die." So he untied the knot, and it took off. The next day, we knew that who the person was because my grandmother answered the door. She goes, "Yes, can I help you?" And she says, "Here, this is for your husband." And he threw it. And my grandmother grabbed it, and she had a big old swollen eye right here. And I was like, I freaked out on that. And my uncle corroborated.
There's a Bruja.
He corroborated that. Well, that lady, they don't live there anymore. That house that they were at, the corner street, was condemned after a while. I never put anything two to two together. But they always had problems. At night, you would hear the cops coming. HPD would come, say what's going on, stop, whatever. And that was that Lechuza story that my grandmother had told. So I was like, man, that's crazy. And my grandmother was she'd never veered off the stories because she told me a couple of more times. Because I say, Grandma, tell me about that story that when Grandpa called that owl or whatever you were telling me. I would be very vague, but I knew what she knew what I was talking about.
They
And
have
so that was
to
that.
they have to do it as say a certain prayer, right?
Yeah. You had to set her said prayer.
When you're doing the knots, you have to say a certain prayer.
Right, like the 12 disciples and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was putting it all together. I was like, oh, this is like judío. A lot of our stuff is Middle Eastern. And I tell people a lot of the stuff you see, like pan semeta, that's means Semite bread because you're part Jewish. And come to find out, we had like blood. We did the bloodline and stuff like that. But anyway, that was crazy. And I asked my grandpa wasn't scared. He goes, no, your grandfather's not scared of this stuff. I think my grandfather may had made a deal, certain things, because in the end, my grandfather owned a whole property, like a block in Houston. And if you know Houston around that's very expensive. It was from Polk Street to Cullen Street into another street. And it went to his mistress. We didn't even know he had other kids until this later. This is a common theme that I'm
Wow.
finding out now. Yeah. Anyway, however it went, my grandmother loved him. That when he died, like the day or two after he died, my grandmother said she couldn't sleep. And all of a sudden her hands were like, she didn't control it. It would press on her heart and pushed it. Like, pressure was pushed into her. Can you guys see me? It was pushed into her chest and she fell asleep. She told me that grandpa came to visit. And the reason that was true, because my aunt that lived in the back room, we had a big house. One of my aunts saw the silhouette of my grandfather, his backside, walking to the room. And another person, after he had passed away, saw him sitting on the couch that he always sit. He would always sit on the couch, look out the window, whatever. And so it was interesting. I had an interesting thing in family. And keeping with that, I remember times my dad, we had moved and we made an upstairs room. My dad, they're carpenters and electricians. And the stairway, my room used to be the porch outside, and then made it to a room, and then it would lead to the house. Well, that those locks, they're bolt locks that are really solid and brass. We had that on the door, And every time I would get mad, that damn thing would open and slam on the thing. I was like, "Oh, that's Grandpa probably getting pissed off at me." That's that. I don't know where that came from. My sense said that, or like I don't know who it was, but it would open up. I don't know if it's him or not. Honestly, don't know. But I know there was a presence in the house, and I knew that when my stepmom she passed away. But when she moved in with us, she was scared. She goes, "I'm hearing footsteps on the
Oh
stairs."
man.
Yeah, she goes, "I keep hearing." She started. So we came home one day. My dad went to go pick me up. I think I was doing karate or something downtown or something, Kimsu karate or whatever. If you're from Houston, you know what I'm talking about. And so she was crying. She was in the living room crying, babe, I don't want to go up. I keep hearing these footsteps. And the door is like, it stopped once we got home. So we never knew what happened. That home since then has been torn down and has been rebuilt. I still have pictures of the old home. I can send it to you, how it looked. And I love that home. That was my home I ever knew since growing up. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard coming back now, especially when I was in the service. I would come back. That would be the first time I would go see my grandmother to see how I was doing. I grew up tough life. My grandmother, I remember my junior year, my grandmother said, "Hey, boy, what are you going to do?" I said, "What do you mean, Grandma?" She goes, "You're going to be a senior next year. You're not staying here." I was like, "Oh, crap." So that I went to sign myself up in the Navy.
Dang.
Yeah, she was tough, man, tough love. But I never regret it, and it was great, man. I know I have more stories. Some of them I put them, suppressed them back. But if y'all have any questions, I can tell you more. San Antonio, I have some ghost stories when I worked in the hospital. I'm medical by trade, so I can tell you some ghost stories in there.
Well, there's a lot of activity at the hospitals, man. I don't like going to hospitals because
Yeah.
I can sense and see things. Man, I see your room, man. It's bad. I was sitting in the lobby. I was walking down in the ICU room to where my wife's mom passed away a year ago.
Oh wow.
So I was walking to her little boy say, "Help me," right?
Ooh.
So I'm looking. There's nobody around me. So as I
Right.
pass the room, the door, there's a little boy in a with a thing. He's knocked out. I guess it was a voice. So I prayed for the little boy,
Right.
right? I prayed for him. Then some visitors came, so I went to go sit down in the lobby. I walked out, and I want to go sit in the lobby. So I'm sitting in the lobby. I could see the light in the other. There's two lobbies side by side, and all of a sudden, the lobby where I was at, it just got pitch dark, man. Like
Ooh.
nothing but darkness all around
Mm.
me, and I'm looking. Then I look at the lights very dim, and I could see the light on the other room. I'm like, what's going on? The lights are on, but it looks pitch dark.
Yeah.
So I started praying, tie by the beginning in the name of Jesus Christ. Next thing
Hmm.
you know, all the darkness left. But yeah, there's a lot of activity in the
Yeah.
hospitals.
Yeah, brother. So
Go ahead, brother.
yeah.
You can
So
share your story.
so when I was in San Antonio, like I said, medical by trade. I've been a respiratory therapist, licensed through Texas board of Texas State Board for like 25 years now. And I did it through the Navy, through the military. Great program, very tough. Um, so anyway, when I moved to San Antonio, I got a teaching job. I worked for Concord College. If anybody's familiar with them, they're a private, for-profit college. And I was a clinical instructor before I became an actual didactic instructor. And so one of the hospitals was the VA hospital. The next one was Metro Hospital, if anybody's familiar with them down there. And then they have Children's Hospital and whatnot. Well, this one case was at Metropolitan Hospital in like the main one. And so it was a first shift, literally. This is the first time where they ever had night shift for the students to stay overnight. And if you've been up there, there's like a glass door. It slides open, and then there's like a curtain. And then past the curtain's the bed, and then there's couches in there for the ICU for visitors and whatnot. Well, when we went in, we got report, and the guy coded. This guy in the first room to the left, if you were walking the unit, and I was like, "Oh crap!" So I'm on top of him doing CPR, looking at the doctor. "Hey man, you're gonna do anything? Call something." He goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot." And so they started, we were working on him. So eventually he lived. Okay. Remember, this guy died, didn't know who was on top of him or nothing, like visually. Like all of us were there. So we intubated him, got him on the machine. He's viable. Everything was great. Literally, like I'd say 3 or 4 days later, because we were 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 3 off, to how the shift rotation would work. So the next shift rotation we were on, he was off the ventilator. It's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. Well, as I was walking by him, the glass door was there, but the curtain was pushed back, and he had visitors sitting, a male and a female, sitting on the couch facing me, and they were talking. The reason I know they were talking because I passed him the first time. The second time I passed him, like literally, some said, "Look to your right," and I looked, and it's like he was talking. All of a sudden, he stopped and turned around and looked at me. I said, "Oh shit, he saw me when he was dead." And I took off running. And I was like, man, that is scary. That was scary, dude. I was like, I freaked out because he goes, he looked at me and says, "Hey, thank you." And I was like, oh my God, because he'd never seen me before. And it's like, I started freaking out. I was like, oh man, it happened again. And I say that because I've had instances of that happening to me during my time in the military working in the hospitals. One time, this was in Bethesda, Maryland. This was during the time before Fallujah hit back in 2004. So in 2003-ish, roughly around that time, I was in ICU working nights. So you had the ICU, and then you had the CCU, which is basically the ICU for heart patients. And this lady that was in one of the rooms, this is her story. So she was basically going to pass away. We were just, waiting to see what the doctor's order was. She had non-resuscitate orders. That means you can't touch them, because they said, hey, you know what, it's time for me to go. And so that was nice. And actually, I worked day shift that time. And so when I came in from that night shift, they said, "Hey, Roland." I said, "What's up, dude? Hey, you ain't going to hear that. You got to hear this story." I was like, "All right, well, tell me next time when you come in. So when we change shift again, I'll talk to you because we're busy." He goes, "All right, cool, cool, cool." So basically what happened was that lady died. So she had died. She said when she died, she got, she was scared because he would answer her. So she went to the elevator, and that building, if anybody knows that building in Bethesda, it's Walter Reed now, but it used to be the National Naval Medical Center. That building, she was on the 3rd floor, 4th floor of the ICU. She took the elevators down to the quarterdeck. The quarterdeck is the main area where everybody enters, and you'll see a lot of stuff like the main desk, or if you hear somebody say HQ headquarters, that's what it is. She went down. This is her telling us the story. Went outside, waited for the bus, and she got on the bus nervous. The bus went its whole entire route, came back. She got off, went back up, and just went. She said, this is what she said, "I'm tired," and went to lay down in her bed, and she woke up.
Wow.
So she was dead. She was already dead. And when the RT went to check on her, because they already knew she was dead because it was pronounced, she woke up, started talking, and he freaked out and ran out. I was like, "You're lying. You're talking about this." And they're like, "No, dude, we're serious. Go walk by there." And I walked by there, and all her family was there, and she was going to get discharged within a couple of days. And I was like, "Man, you're right." Because look at her, man. Because she was basically blue. She was a COPD patient. She already, death was coming, but she came back, and that was her story, and that freaked me out, man. That was another one that freaked me out. Another story freaked me out was one of my students in San Antonio at the VA. So this patient had passed away that morning, and we were getting morning shift. Well, this student, backstory on her, she was in the Army. When she was in the Army, she was stationed in Fort Sill, I think it's in Oklahoma, and other places. And I say this one specifically because in Oklahoma, there's a lot of Indios, a lot of Indian tribes that are out there.
Yeah.
And I remember she told me one time when they were doing patrols or whatnot, one of their, ops that they normally do, reindeer games, she said she saw this man walking out there in full Indian regala. She's like, "Wow, there must be a parade out here or something like that, but I don't see the other people." And they looked at her like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Her name was Hispanic. And I'll just say Chavez. You're like, "Chavez, what are you talking about?" She's like, "You don't see that man walking over there? He's got like, she described it like a Comanche, basically." And they're like, "No, dude, we don't see that." And she freaked out. And then I said, so, and I asked her, I said, how are you able to see all this? She goes, well, we went to visit a family member at the cemetery when I was little. And they told me when I was walking around to look for the family member, I stepped on a gravestone. She stepped on the actual gravestone. And she said, ever since then, I could start seeing these people. Well, that morning, I remember the patient dying. And this is the freaky part because I could see the room. Nobody was there. They already cleaned it. They did the ultraviolet light. That's basically, so they clean it in the hospital. They do the ultraviolet light to kill all the germs and stuff. And I could see them wheeling that out. And there's no air on in there because there's no patient and whatnot. She looked at me and cringed. She turned her whole back, looked at me. I said, you saw him, huh? She goes, yeah. How do you know? Because I can see the blinds moving like this.
Oh wow.
I was like, yeah. I was like, that's. I said, I didn't see anything, but I saw the blinds. Later that day, one of the female students went to the restroom. She said, Mr. Malone, she came out running, Mr. Malone, I'm scared. I was like, why? Something told me something in my voice. I said, what did something tell you? She goes, he says, hey, what's going on? I started laughing. I was like, are you sure? She goes, yeah, I'm scared. I was like, all right, well, what do you want me to do? I said, we just got here. We can't, they can't send you home. He's like, okay, whatever. She was from the Valley. So you know how they have their own accent and stuff. I
Yeah,
started laughing. I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I was like, all right,
that's where
cool.
I'm
Just
from the Del Valle, Rio Grande.
yeah. Yeah, so I started laughing. I said, yeah, don't. I said, just ignore it. You're probably hearing things. Needless to say, none of the women went into that restaurant. That all the girls, she told all the students, and they never went to that restroom. I said, oh, the restaurant right there. Oh, no, Mr. Malone, I'm going to go downstairs. I started laughing. I said, all right, make sure you don't hear no voices. She goes, shut up, sir. Shut up, sir. Don't say that. I said, all right, whatever.
But
And
you
then
used to
when
it
that,
there because you work in that environment, you know. So
mm-hmm,
I know I've seen other things there in the hospitals, and just you said I don't like going to hospitals, but I've seen the soul collectors in the hospitals too.
yeah, right.
But the soul collectors, they look like regular people, but they're there to collect the souls of the dead or whoever.
Oh, crap. You know what, bro? I didn't even think about that.
I'm just
Oh,
bringing it
that's,
up because I felt that if I've seen them, I'll give you a story. I was
yeah.
my like I said, my wife's mother. They called her that she was fixing to pass away and stuff like that. So my wife had gotten a head start. So I see my wife in the distance, and I was trying to catch up to her, and there was a man in between, right, us,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to catch up to my wife and stuff. And by the time I got to the elevator, she had already taken it. So I got in the elevator with this man. So as I get in the elevator, the man said, "You're following me," and I was like, "No, sir." And he's like, you're following me, like I'm like, no,
Right.
sir. And then we stop on the floor where the ICU room is, and I said, my mother-in-law is fixing to pass away. Then but the way he was looking at me, it was acting strange. But I was praying within
Mhm.
myself, and I got out the elevator. Uh, it's kind of like he knew that he was there to claim because that night she passed away. But
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know who that man was or who he was, but I feel he was like a soul collector, that he was there to collect the soul,
Right.
something in that nature. So you've
Right.
seen things like that too?
Yeah. So, not, you're making me think now. Yeah. So when you go to the hospital and you know this, it's just it should be common sense. You can't just go into a patient's room. And so I've seen a couple of times, there's this one guy in San Antonio. Uh, he was flown out from the valley to there because his injuries were bad. Well, what happened was he was in cahoots with the cartel.
Mm,
And the reason I knew that is because when we were doing the shift for the students that day at night, there were a San Antonio Police Department there at the door, like at his area. And I asked the nurses, I said, why are the cops here? That's not normal. They said, oh, let me tell you. So we went to the break room and they told me. And they said he had dealings with the cartel and they did death threats on him. And they said one of the cartel members found out exactly where he was at, the specific room, and went up there to see him. And then he left something. I don't know. He left an item, and nobody picked up on it until one of the family members that knew, I did dealings with. They said, "Hey, they were here." They were here. They were here. Look. And he showed them it was a bullet casing. And in the hospital, you can't carry weapons in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And so the bullet casing was more than enough for have the San Antonio PDB up there because you can't have weapons. And well, when they told me that, I was like, okay, cognizant about that because we have to do our rounds, every 2 to 3 hours, depending upon what facility you're at. And when the students do the rounds, I have to double check it. So I'm basically they're doing their job, and I have to check it. And I went into one of the rooms. That patient died, and to his injuries. I don't know. They didn't want to be specific because it was like high sensitive. There was somebody in there, and I was like, that was odd because I went to go check on one of the students. When I came back, he had the sheets over his head. And I said to the cop, I said, hey, you guys were here. You guys are heading out or whatever. He goes, yeah, we're heading out. He had passed away. They don't need us here anymore. And I said, so who was that lady that was in there? They're like, nobody's passed by here. I was like, nobody passed by there. It's like, no, bro, I'm telling you, there was a lady in there talking to him. And he was talking back to her. He said, no, he couldn't have talked back to her because he had been dead for a bit. I was like, look, man, I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm just telling you what I saw. And you can ask anybody around. One other nurse, I never got to spoke with her. Maybe it spooked her. She was a young female nurse, had said that she had seen someone in there too, a female type. And I was like, oh, crap. I didn't know what that thing. I'm over here thinking it maybe had been a family member or something. I don't know. But it could have been that because once that had happened, when I came back, the sheet was already over his head. And like an
Yeah.
hour and a half or two went by and stuff. I was like, oh man, that's insane. That's just crazy. San Antonio, man, has a lot of energy out there. I know here in Houston, there's a ley line that passes through.
Limestone,
Yeah, it
the
passes through
limestone,
Alvin.
brother. That's what it is. Limestone. There's a lot of limestone in Central Texas. Limestone, San Antonio. There's a lot of limestone in the Rio Grande Valley. That's an energy conductor. So when you have so much limestone like that, like there's going to be paranormal activity.
Uh,
Limestone, like in the lakes and the creeks,
yeah.
the woods that brings in the parent. A lot of spirits feed off that energy to manifest.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense too, because there's a lot of, if you go north of San Antonio, is Bernie, Texas. And it's kind of uppity, ritzy kind of area. So a lot of the physicians they live up there. They live up there. I know that because I remember I had a friend. He was a radiologist, and his wife was also a physician. They had this big, huge home. They were renting it. They didn't buy it. They had like bobbles, turkeys, and everything out there. Big home. And so anyway, if you go past Bernie, there's what's that? Oh man, they just had Kerrville. Kerrville
Kerrville.
that had that accident. Well, if you go to Kerrville, it's a lot of hills. They call it the hill country. It's a lot of hills. Well, there was a story when COVID hit. That one nurse, she was from New York. She had, so the way it worked was you get 13-week contract and they can extend you. They were paying good at that time. It was getting, it was great time, but not for the patients, but for those in the medical field, they're making a lot
Yeah.
of money. So anyway, she was from New York. She said she had to drive up there to a rental car to Kerrville, and she worked at emergency room. So one night, a patient came in, and she said this guy was huge. She was like if you ever seen a country bumpkin and a big dude, this was it. He was like the best way she could describe it was like you ever see the new Reacher series? That
Yeah.
big
The
dude,
big
that
guy.
big like him, right? Well, he was the injured one, and she said he had a bite right here over his shoulder that would the end of the circular of the bite would go over his breast and the back of his scapula, and he was bit hard. And they were trying to. She was like, "What the hell is this? What is this? A boar or like a pig attack or whatever?" And the physician, this was a physician, brother. A physician said, "No, that was a canine attack." And she looked at him like, What are you talking about? You're insane." He says, "That's a canine attack. Please go to see the other patient. We'll take care of this one." And I was like, damn. And she went to ask the guys that were with her, and they were like polite and saying, yes, ma'am, we were hunting. Something came out. We heard a scream, and we found him on the floor bleeding. And I said,
Wow.
that was probably a damn dog, man. I was like, that's the only thing I could think of out there. I was like, fudge that, man. I was like, that
So
dude was huge.
they said it was a canine bite.
Yeah, the doctor, bro, the doctor. Out of any other animal, a mountain lion, cougar,
Yeah, because there is mountain
this dude
lions.
said canine, man. I was like, what the? Like, where did that come from? So it means to tell me he's seen this before.
So he's seen the bite. He knows of the bite mark that it
He
was
knew
canine.
exactly the canine bite because remember the big canines are in the front. It's what she was saying. She couldn't tell. She knew it was an animal bite, but she didn't think it was. She said the head reminded her of the length of an alligator. You know how it's elongated. So she would see the row of teeth, and she was trying to put together. Because remember, she's from New York. She doesn't know anything about Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
So anything and everything was, in her head. And when she heard that, she freaked out. She's like, "What do you mean, like a big Rottweiler, or what do you?" She was trying to figure it out. The other nurses were silent. They were the actual staff, full time nurses there. That doctor was a full time staff, but he told her to go do some other assignment. But yeah, she told me about that. That was back in 2020, mid 2020, when that happened. Ever since that, she said she basically finished up her contract, didn't extend it there, and she left. She said she never went back to Texas. She just stayed
Wow.
back in. And I said, ma'am, I would have done the same thing. And I don't want to see anything like that either out that way. But yeah, like you mentioned, the limestone. Um, and that area is called what is it called? I know they call it something. You go above uh, San Antonio north, going north, that area. It's called the Devil's something. I forgot what it's the backbone. The Devil's backbone is what they call it. And so I know there's a lot of stuff that goes out there. And like I said, in Houston too. Um, oh, man, there was a story about my uncle, what happened to him, but I forgot. But yeah, man, that what I was going to tell you that Santa Muerte stuff is strong. I had 3 years ago, I was at Harris County. We had bad days. I was there for about a month, and a lot of the writings on the wall, and you can still see it. Some of them were stained in blood of like in Spanish incantations, uh, letters, visuals, and then that entire time I was in there, I was praying, man. I was like, I need to pray because this isn't right. It didn't even feel good. And the things I saw in there was just like prison, and it was really bad. It was really bad. But yeah, that Santa Muerte stuff, it's foothold.
It's
It's really,
basically
really deep.
like a form of witchcraft. That's what
Yeah,
it is, brujeria. Because that's what the worship is, the Santa Muerte. The I think the drug dealers they worship her or for protection
right,
from from the cartels or from not getting killed and stuff like that. I used to have
right.
a guy jump on here named Benny Blanco when he was talking about that he was, I guess, part of a cartel or something, and that he was worshipped the Santa Muerte because he was always bringing it up. But then all of a sudden, I never heard of him no more. He never showed up no more.
Oh wow.
It's like I don't know what happened to the guy because he was always jumping on the live here. The only thing he would talk about Santa Muerte on the chat, but he would never jump on to talk. But I
Okay,
haven't heard from him. I don't know if Santa Muerte got him or what. I don't know
could
something
have.
something happened to him
Yeah,
because
could
the
have,
only
man.
other Benny Blanco that I've seen is the one that got married to what's her name, Selena Gomez.
Oh yeah,
So I don't know if that's the same guy or not. Because this
right.
guy was saying he was from California or something in that
Oh
area.
wow. Oh
So I
okay.
don't know.
I got you. I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah, the Santa Muerte. A lot of people, well, some people believe. I think it has to do with how the person is as an individual, uh, what they've been through in life and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
there's people that are not even in the cartels that believe in that. I
yeah,
remember,
yeah,
I remember certain things of this Santa Muerte. 'Cause I've seen it before in people's homes way back in the day. I'm talking
yeah,
about when I was a kid. There was this house from we used to call her India Maria. It was a tia, my
yeah.
mom's tia, and I was always been able to sense. And I went into this. I sensed something. I could feel something. I opened this closet. I seen this altar and this man. There was blood,
Oof.
all kinds of stuff in there, man. So I closed it, and the lady said, "Don't ever go in there." But I think she was worshiping something.
Mm.
Like, but it was like I don't know, it was like an altar, and he had this black figure in it. Brujeria stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but I know curanderas too up in Reynosa, Tamaulipas.
Oh
The
yeah.
curandera, they told me I had an encounter there with some black witches, man. I don't know if you heard my story, but yeah, I had an encounter with some brujas over there when I was 3 years old.
Mm.
My brother, he he was having high fevers. He's 2 years older than me,
Yeah.
and he was seeing snakes and scorpions on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctors in the valley couldn't find out what was the matter with him, but the fevers were real high, like 10, 102, 103. And they're saying that he wasn't going
Mm.
to live that much
Right.
longer because he had too many fevers.
Yeah.
So my one of my aunts said, "Hey, let's go." She knew this person. It was a curandera, and I remember driving the Impala with my brother. My brother was even hallucinating on the way over there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he would jump on the couch and screaming, and because of the high fevers, and he was seeing snakes, spiders. I mean everything: snakes, spiders, scorpions, and I remember going into Mexico and the little adobe bricks into we passed like a body of water, like a bridge, and we
Mm-hmm.
went up in this house, like a little hut. The
Yeah.
floor was there was only 2 rooms. There was this lady dressed all in white, and she had the bullets like in the times of Pancho Villa.
Mm-hmm.
Went in there, and she got my brother, and she healed him immediately. Like she looked at him, and she grabbed this egg. She had a fire on the ground, and she started rubbing the egg on him from head to toe, and she told my mother that it was a. She even said the name of the woman that did the maldad on him, that did witchcraft on him, and
Mm.
said that the woman's name was Maria, right?
Yeah.
So she prayed with him, and she got the negative attachment that was in him, and she cracked the egg. When she cracked the egg, there was this little black uh, bird that came out, like
Oh
a
man.
chick, baby chick, and he had blood on it.
Mm.
My brother, his arm would be like this all the time, and his leg was hurt because so many times it would fall down. I mean,
Yeah.
like he was going to drop, drop, drop. So he became better. So the deal was that I had to stay with her because we had no money, we were poor.
Right.
So they took my brother back, across the border, and I stayed with her. I can't remember, man, how long I stayed with her, but I was there for a while. I mean, I was only 3, so I would see her heal all the patients that she would get, all the people that had my dolls on them and stuff like that. And we were doing that. I was like her eyes. Like she would heal somebody, and I would see the dark shadows, the botanegros come out of the people.
Yeah.
She would ask me if there's something there, and I would point. And she would tell me "Vos cuantos," and I would say 3, 4, whatever. And then they will leave the hut, and she would ask me "Ya se fueron," and I'll go like that. And
Mm-hmm.
but to make a long story short, there was one evening because we sleep in the same room. She had a little bed for me, and she was asleep. And when I woke up, I didn't see her in the bed, and then I heard some argument going on. So when I,
Mm.
I got up and I walked to the other room, the floor was dirt. So I walked to the other
Yeah.
room, and I seen her blocking the doorway, the main entrance to the hut, and you could hear like what the hell? What's that noise? You hear, and then you hear somebody talking. And I went around her, and I looked, and I stuck my head out like that, looked, and I could see 6 dark witches, and then on top of the tree was 6 lechuzas, black lechuzas,
Mm.
and you hear whether the lechuzas were talking up on the trees, and then one of them said, "There he is," "Ahí está, ahí está." and they told her, uh, and she looked at me. She said, "Go back inside, mete para atrás."
Sí.
And I stood there beside her, and they were like, "If you give them to us, we'll leave you alone. We just want vengeance because you healed his brother, and I guess they're the person which was in charge of him died. The maldad went back to her,
Oh, right.
so they were there to they wanted her to give me up to them as
Mm,
vengeance, right? And she said no. I made a deal with her mother, and I'm protecting him. And they said if you don't give it, we're gonna come after you. And then I looked at them and I said, "Not afraid." That's what I said. Not afraid. That's what I
mm-hmm,
told them. And I stood there by her. It was between three till the sun rose that these witches were there, and they were trying to do something. But I knew I could feel the presence of the heavenly angels around us. So by the
right.
time the sun rose, they all flew. The Lechuzas flew away, and those women, the Brujas, the dark witches, they left. But we stood our ground spiritually. Uh, but I can relate to the things that you're saying. So after I remember outdoor restroom, outdoor shitter over there,
Yeah.
excusado, how you say it in Spanish,
Mm-hmm,
and I was using it. Like I said, I don't know how long I was there, but I was there for a while. I was coming out of the restroom, and the curandera had already kind of like trained me and told me, "Look, there's gonna be people because you're helping the things that you're doing here. There's gonna be people that are gonna be coming after you. They're gonna be coming after you because you've helped out many people that they were trying to do something to. So they're gonna come
mm-hmm,
after you. So don't take nothing from anybody. Whatever they're trying to give you, don't take it because they're going to try to do something bad to you." So she warned me ahead of time about not taking anything from strangers like candies, uh, animals, or anything that somebody's trying to give me, especially if it's a stranger,
mm-hmm,
not to take it. And it happened, where one time I was out there playing on the ground, and there was this woman, and she's like, "Come in here," and she had like a toy, trying to give me the toy, trying to get me to go to her. So I
mm-hmm.
looked at her and I just went inside the hut instead. So,
Yeah.
uh, but I heard somebody say my name. I looked and I was trying to see who it was, and it was my mother. She finally came back for me. Like I said, I had forgotten how she looked. Uh, so she brought me back to the States. When we came back to the States, the first weekend that I came back to the States, um, they came. The same people that were trying to get me over there, they came to our house in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
I was outside playing at nighttime, and the light, was on, and I hear, uh, whoever doesn't want to hear this, cover your ears. There's people that don't like this noise because sometimes, this noise brings things.
Yeah.
But what I heard was, I look up to the sky and I see this big old black lechuza flying around, right? And then it makes that. I see another one coming from another direction, and they're all communicating through that screech. And
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, there's like they kept on making that screech sound. There's like six of them flying around on top. And they start ascending down,
Yeah.
coming toward the trees. Little my hairs are standing up just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So as they're coming down the streets, I go inside the house and I tell my mom they're here. Lechuza, the brujas are here, and that's what I told my mom. They're here. So I closed the door, get inside the house. We had like Palm Sunday. We had crosses on
Oh, yeah,
each
yeah.
window for
Right.
protection doors. So we're there, and we just everything's real quiet in the house, and it's all me and my brothers and sisters and my mom. And then my mom's like, "You hear that?" Where like then you hear the talons of the harpy or lechuza.
Hmm.
You hear women laughing, they're laughing,
Right.
and then it starts picking up. Activity starts picking up where you hear banging on the wall, tapping sounds in threes.
Oh yeah.
Then you hear banging in threes on the windows, on the door. Then you hear our house was on pillars. So
Yeah.
imagine you're standing and your house is off the ground because of the in the valley of floods, and then you hear
Right.
banging right underneath you. Bah, bah, bah.
Mm.
And you move because you're trying to stay within the room because they're outside, right? And then you move to a different spot, and then you hear the boom, boom right underneath you where the boots, the wood is even moving, and
Mm.
you're hearing all this at once, all these things simultaneously, and then you start hearing something running on top of the roof.
Yeah.
Your foot, something running on top of the roof, and then you start hearing something running inside the house from the last room all the way to the front room, and it would stop right there by the like so much paranormal activity happening. So they're laughing. You hear the kicking, the bangings, and the runnings and the poundings, and then you start seeing dishes flying around, getting broken in the kitchen. All the dishes
Mm.
just shattered, getting broken by an unseen force. So that happened like every Saturday, man, on the Sabbath
Oh
day.
wow.
Every Saturday till I was like around 11 years old. I was already in little league and everything. Every Saturday, these things would happen till one day I got tired. I went outside. I said, "Mom, I'm tired of this. I'm not afraid of them." I went outside and I seen them on the trees. They were on the tree, the lechus, the brujas, lechuzas, and I would tell them leave, and they would be laughing at me. I said, "All right, you hecaliche." That was a pitcher, a left-handed pitcher, and
Hmm.
uh, I hit the lechuza right there. Wow, you could hear it where the rock would hit her, and she was like,
Hmm.
she'll make that noise like pounding, like it was. I mean, I was whacking her, man, like all on the
Yeah.
right side. The lechuza that was there, I was smacking that one. I couldn't get the other ones because they were further in the darkness, but I was getting the one that I
Mm.
could visually see. So following day, following day from that incident, my grandmother told me, "Hey, let's go to the store." She would take me to the store. She would just point what you wanted. I'll put it in the basket. So I put it in the basket, and then she go around the aisle and she tells me, "Oh, I forgot. Go give me this thing that was on the other side." So it was at HEB. I went around the other side of the aisle, and right on the edge there was this freaking woman, man. This old lady looking at me pissed off. She had a black eye. She had bruises
Mm.
all over her head,
Yeah.
freaking with wraps. I mean, she was tore up, dude. Like somebody beat the crap out of her. And then I was like looking at her, and she was just looking at me real ugly. And I was like, so you're the one that I was hitting with a caliche, but,
Oh wow.
with the rocks. So I
Right.
just looked at her and I just left her alone and came around. But yeah, she was pissed. She was the one that I hit with well, she was in the leches. All the bruises were on the right side. That's where I was hitting her
Right.
with the rocks. So I was able
Right.
to put it together that it was her that was on the tree. But
Right. Right.
yeah,
You see how the correlation you just said, I've never spoken to you before in my life, is giving you the example of my grandfather's story, and that's what the cool thing I like about, and I wish more folks would come out and talk about stuff like that, because there's, granted, I don't want to go and, oh, let's go to this house and bring something home and
yeah.
como babosos. I'd rather do something to help, but not, want to, oh yeah, let's go in the woods and let's go find us a big, that's like, nah, bro. And I tell people, I was like, listen,
Don't
yes, we
be
can go
afraid.
camping.
Don't be afraid of your spiritual abilities, brother. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Just follow what your spirit tells you to do. That's the best
Right.
thing I can tell you. But if you do go do something, make sure you're prayed up. Pray before,
Right.
during, and after. Stay prayed up.
Right.
I've been doing this works, helping people, cleansing homes, getting rid of. I run into complete strangers that have they're being demonized, and I cast the demons out of them. And I've been doing this works since I was 3. I'm
Right.
56 right now, so all my life I've encountered. I remember being in pre-K, and I was playing on the swing set with a friend, and the those the swings back in the day, not the swings, what do you call it? The seesaws were made out of wood or whatever,
Yeah. Right.
and I was in school. This dark shadow figure comes throughout the building and goes into my friend. So he goes into my friend, and my friend starts acting strange. He starts touching himself and all kinds of things. So I'm
Mm.
looking at him, and I looked at the spirit that went in him, and I said, "Leave my friend alone." And when I said that, he took off, and my friend was back to normal. So I've been fighting spiritually for many years, man, and it just sometimes people uh, have to go through something to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it exists.
Yeah.
It's very real of what he was saying. I've heard those stories before also of the
Right.
tying of the knots, how they have to do something that they get control of the lechuza. That's when they do the
Right.
tie the knots, and then sometimes they will put them in cages or whatever, and then but when the sun rises, you can see their true form of who they are. Uh,
Right.
but
Yeah.
spiritual
That
warfare
was.
is very real.
Yeah. And I tell people that, man. It's like, man, this stuff is there. I've seen it too many times. They're like, why does this happen? I said, look, man, this is God, His universe. We're just taught to obey, man. So just you can keep it as you want. You can live in the box, but even my friends that went to Iraq and Afghanistan, there's some stories they'll tell me. That's because we're all están tomando borrachos. But other than that, I don't
The
press them
gin,
because I don't want to bring up something bad. But they've had stories over there, como se llama, like como the gin and all that
yeah,
stuff they be talking about.
I call it the gin. Is
Yeah,
demonic. It's the same thing. What I call the DDN, disembodied demon Nephilim. I had encounters.
yeah,
I was in the army myself. Uh, my hat.
nice, brother.
I was in 10 years,
And
and I was in
thank you for your service.
I was in operation. Thank you for your service. Uh,
Thank you for being American.
I was in a tanker, so I was in a
Yeah. Oh,
battle
yeah.
on Medina Ridge. I witnessed the degen out there, man. You know, we're fight. We had already destroyed the Medina Republican Guard,
Right.
and there was smoke rising from the burning tanks and stuff. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the driver in the tank, and I'm low to the ground, so I'm able to see everything because the smoke it rises. So I'm able to have a clear view of what's going on. And as I'm looking, I'm seeing some smoke that's there, but it's not rising. And I'm how come all the smoke is rising, but that dark smoke is not rising? So I'm looking at it.
Mm,
So I'm driving, getting closer, there was some of the Medina Republican Guard that had white flags, which means surrender,
yeah.
that they're giving up, right? So I'm seeing them, and then I see that black smoke, which is an unclean spirit,
You're
fly
right.
across the battlefield and go into the guy with
Mm,
the white flag. So when it
yeah.
enters the guy with the white flag, he drops the white flag on the ground, picks up a weapon, and he's shooting with the
Mm,
AK-47, and he gets taken out.
right.
Then the jinn jumps out of that individual and goes into another person that's got a white flag, and it goes down the line. So there's like 10 to 15 people that die because of the jinn is possessing them, making them drop the white flag and pick up weapons to fight. I witnessed
Right.
the jinn out there. So yeah, I believe the stories of your friends because I witnessed them in combat, and then I witnessed them when I went back in '95. I witnessed the jinn out there again. Uh, They're out there, man. They're very tall, kind of like the same thing as a DDN. Very tall, dark
Right.
shadow figures. Have yellowish eyes. Um, I would say like 12 to 13 foot tall. The burn pits or burn the trash at nighttime. If you had your night vision, you could still see the heat coming out of those burn pits.
Hmm.
But when you're looking at it, then you're seeing this dark shadow figures around it. They have no energy, but you can see the silhouettes of the degen around the fire, I guess, absorbing the energy from the flames. But they were definitely out there. So,
Yeah.
what are the stories that your friend said about the degen?
Uh, no. So there were some stories that when they would go do, you know how you had to go clear the homes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They would do patrols, and sometimes they had to do watch. Well, when Navy call it watch, I don't know what they call it in the Army, but we had to do watch. At 4 hours of watch or whatever, and they rotate.
yeah, yeah. Like
And
guard,
so they
radio
would,
watch.
yeah. So they would do all the watch and stuff like that, and you knew who was there with you, and you knew who wasn't because there's upstairs and downstairs. And at one time, he thought he was talking to a friend of his, and he was he relieved him of his duty, but he was under the impression his friend stayed, and he felt him there. He felt somebody there. You can feel when somebody's there, and he just started talking about, oh, my family's doing good. I just got off, like it's called MWR, morale, welfare, recreation, and all that. They used to give like free cell phones and stuff, and free time to go call and whatever. So he was talking
Mhm.
about how he spoke to his brother, his cousins, and stuff like that. This went on for like literally almost the first half of the shift. He was telling me, and then he turned around and said, "Hey, bro, can you watch?" Because he wanted to go to the latrine or the head.
Yeah.
Hey, and he turned. He was like, he didn't see anybody. He goes, "Man, that's weird." So he went down, used the restroom, came back up, and then he saw like a dark shadow figure where he was at while doing watch. His instinct said, you know, say Jesus and then run, and that's what he did. He wasn't really spiritual at this time, just like most people aren't. You know how the military is. When you're in a foxhole, you become
Yeah.
religious real fast, or a firefight. So that's what he did because he was just taught that when he was young. People, you hear like Father Abraham has me. These songs started coming to his head, and when he did that, when he was about to run, that thing like hissed at him, and he just took off and never went back. And he basically said, "Hey, you know what? Um, I'm not feeling good. Let me go to sick call. Let me go to True Clinic or whatever they had over there." And I said, "All right, whatever." So somebody else took the shift, and so when he came back, the guy he spoke to his sergeant, and they were like talking and stuff and whatnot. And he says, "I'm not going back there." He goes, "I'm not going." He said, "For half my shift, I thought I was talking to so and so, but there was nobody there. When I returned, there was this big ass shadow right there, and it hissed at me when I said this." And the sergeant says, "All right." He goes, "Okay, whatever." And he says, "Don't put this in your report." He said, "Just do this and go along." Come to find out, that home they had used it. The terrorists had used it for killing, opposition people. And I was like, dude, that place was demonic, bro. I was like, that's what it was. I was like, think about it. I was like, I was like, man. And I told him, I said, screw that shit, man. You're stronger than me because I don't know what the hell. I would have pissed my pants. Talking almost half the shift, and you're thinking you're talking to your homie. Like, nah, man, you're braver than I am. Like, I couldn't do that at all, man. That's just insane. But you can see the similarities, man, because if you think
Oh
about
yeah.
it, a lot of the culture from Middle East come to us, through Spain. You know how the Arabs ruled there and the Jews. A lot of us find out that that's what we were when they fled to the New World and whatnot. So
Oh yeah. Me having the that I'm able to see them. All my life. So I had an incident happen in '95 where we're guarding the main gate, and of course we have sandbags like a little foxhole there just in case we get hit by artillery. And I'm guarding the main gate, and my soldier needs to go use the restroom. I said, "Go ahead." So I was seeing him with a night vision that he goes to the restroom,
In
and
DVs, yeah.
and this guy, I keep on looking because he's not coming back. He's been gone for about 30 minutes. I was like, I hope he didn't fall asleep in the restroom because I'm like, I need to go relieve the other people, wake up the other people.
Right.
Whatever. So I'm there in the front and I'm looking with the goggles like this, and as I'm looking and I sit down and turn like this, I'm sitting on the sandbag. Somebody sitting right beside me, looking at me. Dark shadow figure looking at me.
Mm.
I'm looking at it, and I start saying the Our Father. When I said the Our Father, it disappears.
In the West,
So,
yeah.
so I'm still looking for my soldier to come from the rest of my hair. I'm looking at here like somebody running and
Yeah.
hear the gear. I'm looking and I don't see nobody. But when I look like this in front of me, I could see three soldiers running, and they go right through the Constantine wire, right
Wow.
through. And as I went through it, they disappeared.
Yeah,
Soldier
that,
never
yeah.
came, and my soldier never came, so I couldn't wake up the other people. So they got in trouble. I didn't want to get the guy in trouble, so he can get an Article 15. So I
Yeah.
told him that, made up some excuse. So I don't believe that. You're just trying to protect. So you're gonna do PT for that, whatever, for not waking them up. I say, hey, at least everybody got some rest. And so they made me do PT. So we're doing some rows. I did a pull guard for about 3 hours, man. So I'm tired, and they said we're
Right.
doing PT run. We're hardcore, right? So we're running, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like in the center, and I'm running, and then you just hear somebody go, ah! There's a dude that was running behind me. His foot goes into a hole in the ground, and he breaks his leg.
Oh man.
So when they're
Not
pulling him out of
good.
the hole, there was three skeletons inside that hole.
Oh my God.
So that would make sense, and that was like real close to the main gate where the
Mm.
spirits were coming from that I seen running.
Right.
But I'm just
Right.
giving an example of yeah, there was a lot of activity out there. There's nothing blocking. We're in open sand, so there's nothing. You can hear women, children at nighttime. The wind carries those sounds. Uh,
Right.
Dark shadow figures everywhere. They'll go mess with me. This the Jen. They'll go pull my freaking sleeping bag and put their elbow on my freaking throat. You know,
Mm.
when I will look, there'll be nobody there. They'll be running around my alpha my by the tank and my camel net. They'll be running around all night. Like they wouldn't let me go to sleep. So I'll be very
Dang.
tired. I'll sleep more. I will sleep more, mainly during the day when I would get a chance. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was glad when I left there, man. It
Yeah,
was
a lot of them, man.
pretty hot and
That's all.
heavy.
They would tell me that, man. They were like, I think some of them were traumatized too, man. They just didn't. They're so traumatized that they blocked it out.
Yeah.
And the only reason they found out is when they had to go to therapy. A lot of us have to go see therapy. And I tell vets, yeah, go. I would suggest you go see therapy because you need it because we're back then. When you're in when you're in and it's good, you don't want to get out. And so at that time, people were saying, oh, if you say you got PTSD or whatever, you're going to boot you out. And I tell the VA that I said a lot of people wanted to stay in. I mean, it was their life, right out of high school, and this is something they wanted to do, and they were doing good at it. But a lot of stuff was suppressed. They couldn't tell anything because they wanted to keep their job. And
Uh,
then lo and behold, now we tell them that they're like, well, why didn't you say it before? And you have to get this whole explanation of why because they were going to kick you out for something you love. You know what I mean? And I love the military. I mean, I worked with all the branches. I actually went to an FM course. It was 91 Victor within San Antonio, RT respiratory therapy. So it was so the way it is here in the in the military. Air Force has their own program, but the Army and the Navy had their original program. So it's always been Army and Navy at the schoolhouse with this program. So my certificate and training, it's Army. It doesn't say Navy. It's an Army. Had the general who was in charge at the time, Brigadier General or whatnot of the
mhm.
of Fort Sam. So, anyway, so I tell people, man, if you have any stories, let me hear about them. Because I know who was telling me. Oh, a friend of mine. When I was stationed in Gitmo, I was stationed there twice. First time back in 98, 97, 98, 99. And then the second time when they had to put the terrorist over there in the Camp X-ray and all that other stuff like that. And man, they have some stories out there, dude. The minefield mate, they call them, what do they call them? Uh, they don't call them minefield mate. They call them engineers, something like
Engineers.
that. So high
Yeah.
technical name for somebody to go dig up a bomb.
Clear,
You know,
they clear
yeah, their
the
mines and stuff
minefields
like that.
with the
Yeah.
toes.
So
You
I
ever
was
seen
like,
one
man,
of
that's
those?
crazy.
Clear a minefield.
Which one?
The
Oh,
engineers. I
oh,
seen them clear a big old minefield one time. Well,
yeah,
it was an anaconda during Operation Desert Storm. It was
yeah.
a big minefield that they had created. We had to go through to keep on going forward. But yeah, I seen the engineers clear that up with a toe, and yeah,
Yeah, it's insane, man. That's just crazy. Well, the story they had the Marine. So back in that time, around 97, 98, they started to clear out a lot of the minefields. And us, how we do it, we throw. I tell people, imagine a clock at 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then at what is it, 11, and at 2 or at 1. This is where in the middle you have your landmine, tank mine, and then at those others you have your bouncing betties. And with that, you know what that is. It's you step on it, the three prongs,
yeah,
and it comes up and blasts the waist below. And I tell people, just FYI, if you've been in a blast injury and doing patrols and whatnot, you pretty much your Weffels is gone. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You can't use it no more and stuff. Well, they had a lot of stuff going on in Cuba because of when Fidel Castro owned that part. Well, the Cubans just threw the shit out of the back of the truck. They weren't calculated. So you had this line, basically a yard thread, and like 550 cord, and 18 inches either side. If you stepped out like 19 inches, you can get blown up. And so they were telling us this story over there. If anybody's been to Cuba or Gitmo, there's a field called Sergeant Kenny Field, and these are the Marines that were out there, the engineers. And Sergeant Kenny, I think he had 30 days left. He was the last one that they told before they leave. They would never, after he died, they would never tell the engineers when their EAOS was or ETS was to leave that duty station or that deployment or whatever they had over there. Because when they did, they ended up dying or getting blown up by the mines. I saw some of the pictures, and their flak jacket melted into their body. That's how hot it was.
wow,
Well, Sergeant Kenny, what happened to Sergeant Kenny was, and if you go, and I tell people, you have somebody called the ears that are, with the, looking for the mine with the, metal detector. And then you had somebody, that digged it up. Well, Sergeant Kenny was the guy that digged it up. And so they were clearing the minefields back out there. And then if you know anything about, common sense, you would always have all your gear strapped. You wouldn't nothing loose because, it fell out and blow you up. Well, Sergeant Kenny had I think it was some trauma scissors. I don't know what it was. It fell out. And right when it was about to hit the ground on the landmine, he looked at the guy that had the ear. You call him the ears. And he said, "Oh, shit." And then boom, he blew up.
damn,
He actually lived for 3 hours after that. And the reason we know that, because his wife and kids, told all the stuff in Minefield out there in Gitmo, they don't tell you anything. You know how it is. It's a training accident. So they called his wife and kids to say goodbye and whatnot. And I saw that picture. It was gruesome. Well, 2 or 3 years later, because they blocked off that area that they went to go, clear the landmines. They had the guy with the ears, right? And he was moving back and forth, and he would hear, "Hey, check your battery." And he looked back at the guy that was supposed to get the mine. He looked back at him and said, "What did you say?" He says, "I didn't say shit, man. I'm sitting down here waiting for you to let me know so I can go dig them up." So this went on for about another 30 minutes, and then he came back and stopped. And he told this guy, "Hey man, how come you keep telling me to fucking look at my radio or my whatever it is, the battery for it?" He goes, "Dude, I didn't say shit to you, not one bit." And then so what happened was he finally they both looked at it and it was off.
Oh
So
wow.
they said that, oh, yeah, they said that was probably Sergeant Kenny telling you to turn on your pack.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, man. I was like, oh damn, that's because when you get there on the way to the hospital there, the Naval Hospital, you'll see it to your left, Sergeant Kenny Field. And I come to find out a lot of the people there, some of them are named after that, people that had passed away, things like that. And that was that was the one of these scary stories I do remember. There was another one about some voodoo Haitian lady because back, what was it, 93, 94, when they told all the Cubans, you guys can leave. And it's different from the Mexicanos. Cuba, once you set foot, you become a citizen. That was the law that was put in place. So a lot of the Coast Guard would, run their boats on the beach and throw them in there and go back. And so, well, at that time, the migrants, they, some were the Haitian, and they said I never seen it, but it was creepy as hell. The hospital is old, building the, like old World War II kind of style. You can see the brick walls kind of old and, and antiquated. But they said you can hear that lady because she died in that hospital walking the halls. And when I had ER duty at night, I was like, man, are y'all seriously you guys want this record? You can't wait till the morning. So I would run, dude. I was hauling ass to the front of the quarterdeck, the HQ, to go get the record and run back. Because I was like, I felt somebody watching me, but I didn't want to see anything. I was like, Lord, please, please, I don't want to see nothing. Especially some Haitian that voodoo lady, like, dude, it's like 19 years old and you're telling me all this shit now when, it's
Yeah.
like, they're like, oh, by the way, this is what happened. I was like, you guys are assholes. Military is. I was like, man, but those are the only two stories that I know about there. I was there too, the first time I was there in Cuba, when one of the Marines died in the armory. What had happened was they were, returning gear.
Okay.
And
Had
I
a
guess,
ammo and a bullet in the chamber.
yeah, so I don't know what happened, but it shot through two rooms and hit the Marine that was in the chair, like
Oh man.
nicked literally his aorta. It nicked it. And my friend, he had duty at the time. He's a paramedic. He was a search and rescue foreman, swimmer. Uh, and he said he was dead. He was like, he was all blue. He was already dead. They tried to save him and stuff like that. And well, one of the Marine Armory guys, when I went the second time there, when the detainees were down there, whatever you want to call them, I don't know how we met. It was weird, just serendipitously. But I don't know how we met. But he had mentioned that a couple of his buddies, they do armory, watch and whatever and things like that, and they could hear voices like a young Marine saying, "Hey, help me out, help me out." And it's like they. I don't think they knew the origin of the story, but I said, where exactly? He said the armory. I said, where exactly in the armory? And the specific place was where that Marine got shot in the nick in
Wow.
the artery. And I told him the story, and he looked at me. He goes, "Are you from?" I said, "Yeah, this happened. I was there when my buddy went to go get him, went in the ambulance, but he was already dead." It's like, man, that's wild. I was like, oh crap, man, that was just crazy. Um, I don't know. I don't know of any other. I have other stories that they haven't come to my head yet, man. But um, there was one in Germany. I just don't remember. I went TDY over there for about a good 3 weeks when I was living in Spain, and yeah, it's a hard duty station. And oh man, so Spain, when you're doing duty, HQ duty, it's overnight every 15 days for us. And you had to go check the morgue. You had to go check the alarms, the freezer alarms, and everything like that.
Oh man.
Dude, I swear to God, when I was leaving, I heard door slammed, and all of them were locked, like the freezer door where you put the body. And I didn't report that in the book, but I told NCOIC at the time above me, the E7, that when he had duty with me, he goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that happens." I was like, dude, I was like, if you would have warned me, man, because I would have never set foot in there. I would have lied. You know how we are, like, yeah, it's good. Would have took off. Like, I do not want to see any ghosts over there, man. But I know a lot of, because that place is old too. And I have not been anywhere where there has not been a situation military wise where there's been a story of some sort. And I know the
Oh,
army gets a lot of. I know the army has a lot of them, especially when they're in the field.
oh yeah. I used to be. My first duty station was Germany, and then from there I went to Operation Desert Storm. Then went back to Germany. Got sent on leave for about 6 months. 6 month leave, just about like five.
Yeah,
They give us a long time off because we
yeah,
were in the battle Medina Ridge. We fought the front line, so it gave us like about 6 months off from war.
yeah. You had to
And
recover.
went back to the states. Went back to Germany. But yeah, there's a lot of a lot of activity on those old bases because
Oh, yeah,
the bases from Germany were, from the Germans. So there was a lot of paranormal activity in the billets. Give you an example of one of them. In the room I was staying, the billets there is a long hallway.
right,
So in the corners of the long hallway is restrooms. Then you get a
right.
main point where you can take a shower, but all the rooms have metal doors, metal frames over there,
Okay.
pretty heavy doors. And I was uh I was having this recurring dream because it seemed like a dream where I would hear
Right.
a truck on the Adobe bricks or whatever, and then you could hear in the dream like somebody with high heels going up the stairs. They will open the
Yeah.
doors, and you hear the high heels go down the hallway and come into my room. Hear the
Mhm.
high heels going into my room, and then I feel like somebody's choking me. Like somebody was choking me. So I'll wake up, and the rooms are pitch dark. So by the time I turn on the light and I'm looking, there's nobody there. But I'm trying to
Mm.
get my breath because it felt like somebody was choking me. So this kept on happening for a while, the same dream over and over. And I'm like, man, what's going on? So one day, I get up from the same dream and I go walk out on the highway. I had a friend named, what was his name? Jackson. His last name was Jackson. And I had lent him a movie. So when I'm in the hallway, pacing back and forth, trying to catch my breath from being choked out. He's coming down the hallway with my movie, and he's got a
Yeah.
smile on his face, right? And I say, "Hey, man, what do you got in there?" It's like, "What are you talking about? You got a senorita in there, don't you?" I said, "What do you mean, man?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I came
Yeah.
to deliver the movie, to give you your movie, and when I was going to knock on the door, I could hear high heels in your room." He
Ooh,
basically could hear
shit.
the high heels in the
Yeah.
room, and I said, "There's nobody there." And after that, I told, like, you said you heard the high heels of a woman in my room. I mean, if it was going to be, at least I could have enjoyed it. But no, it was a
Yeah.
ghost of a woman. So I told my platoon sergeant that I couldn't be in that room to get me out of there. So he
Yeah.
finally moved to a different room. But I
Right.
was being spiritually attacked by a ghost of a woman. I mean,
Wow.
I didn't do nothing with her. Why was she attacking me? Or was it a
See.
woman at all? Because
Oh, oh.
there's demons that can manifest,
Right.
to pretend to be women.
Right.
Yeah, literally getting choked out, bro. Like full getting choked on the throat. Uh, yeah, there was that activity in the attic. On the We had the classroom up in the attic area, and I'd be doing the class up there. I could always feel somebody looking at me. And I could sense somebody looking at me, and I'd be looking, but I would never see nobody. But after we went to war and came back, we're deactivating the unit, and I was one of the last guys to stay there, and I was closing up those billets, and I was painting all the room. I had already painted all the rooms, and I was painting the attic, so I had finished. I was tired. It was like around 5:30, and I sat on the gallon of paint, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, in between my legs was the number 666. Somebody
Mm.
painted perfect 666 in between my legs. So I get up
Wow.
and I'm pissed off, and I go put a seal on the door, and I go all the way to the other billets where I had moved to, and I
Hmm.
told them, "Hey, what's the big deal? What are y'all? messing with me, and I was telling the person in charge over there. He said, "What are you talking about? I let everybody off like around 4 o'clock." So I was like, "Well, maybe it just whoever did the prank, it was a prank." So I'm already on the other billets. The other one that I was working on is closed, sealed with seals, the metal seals, and I had
Hmm.
ordered a pizza. I was on the first floor, and the guy came and he gave me the pizza. And as I got the pizza, that attic area where I was painting, the light turned on,
Wow.
and you could see a dark shadow figure silhouette stand by the window, and it's laughing, but it's just a dark shadow figure. And as it's laughing, the light just shut off.
Damn.
So I told the person in charge, acting first sergeant, "Yeah, I think somebody's in the billet." I told him what happened. So we cut the seal, we check every window, everything's locked, man, everything's secured. Uh, Up to the attic over there, there was nothing. But I guess it was whatever that was the thing that was probably choking the crap out of me when
Yeah.
the phantom. I know there was a phantom in the mortar pool. There was the guards would tell me, "Hey, be careful, you don't run into the phantom out there." I said, "What are you talking about?" "Yeah, there's a phantom here." I said, "Man, there's no phantom." So I'm pulling guard. It's cold, and I'm walking the motor pool, and I see somebody looking at me, picking behind one of the stables from where we got the tanks. They're looking at me,
Yeah.
so I run. And then I seen them over there standing on a corner, all in black with a. It kind of looks like Jack the Ripper or some shit, because it's
Oh,
got the.
damn.
So it takes up running. I go running, and it's like I could never catch up to it, man. I could never catch up to it, but I would see it. The phantom of that mortar pool. Somebody dressed in black. Possibly could have been since we're in Europe, could have been a possible Nosferatu messing with you, but
Right.
they would say it was a phantom because
Right.
everybody could see it at the motor pool.
Oh, so everybody got to see it.
Yeah, people they will, when they would debrief us, they would
Yeah.
tell us that there's activity there of this phantom, not to be scared, but that it sometimes it shows itself. And yeah, I tried to catch it, but I couldn't, man. It was move fast. It's a spirit.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, a lot of activity there, man. They got underground bunkers underneath the billets. They got in the basement of the billets. There was a opening, and it was a tunnel that you could walk. I got in it one day, and I walked that tunnel, and I could see the light very dim, but I started feeling something weird.
Hmm.
So I started walking backwards. I had a flashlight and everything. I walked backwards because I could feel something like some negative energy in there. There probably people died in those tunnels, man. The
Yep.
tunnels that they were hiding when they
Right.
were dropping all those bombs on them. Yeah, but I got so many stories from over there, man. But yeah, I appreciate you jumping on, man. Just sharing some of the things that I witnessed in Germany, and of course when I
Yeah.
was in the field, because that's what I would do as a tanker. Would be in the field. Infantry would be cross attached with the infantry, or they'd be cross attached to us, and there was a lot of activity out there.
Yeah, bro. I believe it, man. And I tell people, you got to remember that, you know, you hear people say, for example, oh man, if that drill sergeant yell at me, I'm gonna punch him in the face. You hear all this. Okay, yeah, whatever, dude. We'll see. But war, nobody wants war. I don't want war. I know you don't want war. And the energy that's involved in the death and the smell, and you smell the blood, that iron nickel smell, and it's chaos, man. And it's like an imprint that's at that area. You know what I mean? I tell people, just like an area can carry things. I said so can stuff like from the pawn shop. I said so you got to be careful the things you take home or what you bring.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't want to do that. And I would tell my family, hey, where'd you get that? I said, do you look at, you check it out? I mean, did you pray over it or something like that? Because you don't know what you're going to bring in the house. Because once you bring it in, you already invited it.
Yeah.
So, and people don't understand that. It's like, yeah, man, it's just how it is. I don't know a better way to say. When people say, "Oh, how come they couldn't take a picture of this creature, or whatever?" I said, because it's supernatural. It's like
Exactly.
it, it's we can only see a certain spectrum of light, and the animals see the other. That's why they always tell us have like, the cat around or whatever, or the dog. They can see these things, and I've been raised all. I remember my dad. I got mad at him one time back in Houston, my grandmother's house. He goes, "Man, you better be careful, Lechuza." He said, "I don't give a damn." I was mad. I was mad at my father. He goes, "Okay, take the dog." I had a husky, beautiful big husky. He says, "Take the dog with you then." And it's like, all right. I would always take my dog and stuff. And that night I did hear the whistle. I was like, motherfucker. I was pissed. I was like, man, let's go ahead and speed up the pace. I didn't tell my dad that. I didn't tell anybody, but I just took off. It's like, damn, he was right and shit. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna mess with that. And like I said, it passes from family member. So my dad and my uncle saw something. So, you know, my oldest and my second eldest saw something, but the second eldest sees a lot of stuff. And then my twin boys see a lot of stuff. And but they're not going to tell me anything. And you know what, Abe, to be honest, I don't know how many things we actually saw that were probably supernatural, but they look real to us.
Yeah, they're able to manifest. When I was growing up, we used to play cowboys and Indians, or sometimes army soldiers. There, we have
Hmm.
a freaking stick pretending it's a freaking machine gun, and
Right,
I was playing with my cousins, and it was a four lot. It was our house and my grandmother's house, so we're playing like two on two, whatever, and
right.
I go around my grandma's house, and I'm standing like this, and I feel somebody pull my pants,
Mm,
and I'm looking, and I see a hand coming from underneath my grandmother's house, but the my grandmother's house is very low to the ground.
¿Cómo se llama
So
esta cosa? It's called San Mano. ¿Qué es eso?
some mano peluda, but
Mano
but
peludo or
but
yeah,
I see a hand, so I go look down. I'm thinking it's my cousin because
yeah,
he's my partner, right? So I look
right,
down, and it looks like the face of my cousin looking at me, and he's going
oh
like
crap,
this, right? So I'm
yeah,
looking at my cousin, and he goes back, crawling backwards into the darkness of underneath the house.
right,
And
right,
I told him, "I'll be right back, cuz." I go running around the house, and I go to my house. And when I get to my house, my cousin was captured. So my cousin was
right.
over there with the other two guys that captured him. And I was like,
Oh, so,
back that way. So it's like, that wasn't my cousin. So something
right,
took the form of my cousin. To,
okay,
some
yeah,
people call them double hangers or whatever. But, this
doppelganger, yep, yep, yep,
unclean spirits that can manifest to look like family.
right, right. And I tell people, not exactly, but like in the, remember in scripture when Paul was released, and I don't remember if it was Thomas or one of them went to the door, and it was him, but he shut the door because he got scared because he thought he was in prison. But they all said, "Oh, it must be his angel. It must have been his angel that looks like him." So it's peculiar. You find a lot of stuff out in the scripture if you just read it. Certain things and that they talk about, and then when you go back to review, it's like, "Oh crap, I didn't even think about that."
That's why you put the spirit to the test. The way you put
Right,
the
right,
spirit to the test, you type under rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. If it's something good, well, it's going to be good. But if it's something that's trying to deceive you, it's going to flee. It's
right.
going to smell sulfur or smell of pestilence when it disappears.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, man. I like this conversation. It's like you can relate to
yeah,
the growing up, and I want more. You know, you know, Hispanos como nosotros, let's see, just come and talk about it, let it out, because for them it's taboo in a sense. They don't want to look at be ostracized and stuff like that. But I look at them, like I tell my kids, you can tell me anything you need and want, but if you're to a certain point, you know, tell me exactly what's up. just don't frightful. But I do tell them about my family's history because a lot of my family, they're brujos and brujas. They grew up that way, and to us growing up, it's normal. You know, when we're sick, we see somebody, that's the ojo, the huevo and everything. That's normal for us when I see
Yeah,
that. So it's not like, what the hell are you doing? But trying to explain it to somebody, oh, well, this is what this is. And they kind of, gaff at you and laugh. I was like, man, listen, I've been in medicine for 20 plus years, maybe going on 30. 25 of those as a respiratory therapist, registered ICU, people dying all the time. And there's been many times I have said, you know, I said that person needs prayer. And you know what? They live the next day. Oh yeah. So now the stories come back to me. So there was when I was working in COVID during 2020 in Bentop Hospital. In Bentop Hospital, my job was in the clinic, not the inpatient unit. Well, because everybody got short staffed, started dying, they need to pull what the resources they got. So one of the patients we had was a cancer patient that had COVID. And you look at him, y'all, you can smell death. I mean, I was like, man, this person's gonna die. And I hated to say that, but you had to, push on because we were so swamped. And so we came in, I did my rounds, the nurse was there, the doctor was there, the attending doc, and they said, you guys got suggestions? I said, we maxed out everything we can do on our end. The nurse, like, I agree with Roland. And the doctor said, okay. And I said, you know what? I think that person needs prayer. And it's interesting. We said, when we said that, all three of us agreed to it at the same time. Hey, I kid you not. 2 days later, that patient was sitting up in bed. I looked at me, and the ventilator was already off. They lived. There was no more cancer.
yeah,
And I was like, dude, man, I freaked out on that, man. I was like, holy crap, man, this is
yeah.
this is
What people don't
this
understand,
is it.
there's a lot of the sicknesses are because of negative attachments. It's
Oh
the
yeah,
sicknesses that are causing the people to be ill, just like the curanderas. When they heal, they cast away the unclean spirit that's making the person ill. So when you pray
right,
and you type out and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, things happen. Of course, the patient or the person has to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and
right.
Savior, and that's how the person is going to heal. Yeah, I've had a lot of experiences in that manner. Since you're talking about brujas and brujos, I've witnessed that because I found out later on how these things were happening. Uh, one of my grandmother, I believe she was affiliated. The only reason I found out about her is one of my when she died. My older cousins, they're like 20, 30 years older than me, and I was only like 11 or 12.
Right.
And they were singing. We were in the hearse, and they were singing the song hi ho, the wicked witch is dead." And I was like,
Oh
why are you
man,
disrespecting
that's
grandma
bad.
like that?
Yeah, that's disrespectful, bro.
That's
Wow.
what I said. And then my older cousin was like, tell him. I told one of my other cousins is like couple of years older than me. I said, no, primo, es que era bruja, bruja negra, or some dark witch.
Right, right,
So, you know, when you don't try to see I never try to look into the bad of people, try to see the goodness in people.
right,
But
right,
then a lot of things started making sense after that, of certain events that would happen. Like, how I told you about the Lechuza that I
right.
hit him? Well, the last time that I ever hit him out of the darkness, because she lived right beside us, my grandmother came out of the darkness, and she looked at me and she said, "You're not afraid of them?" I said, "No, I'm not afraid of them." And I was still throwing the rocks at him. And she said, I said, "Wait up, let me go over here. Voy a ir para acá, me arreglar este asunto." She went over
Sí.
there and she was talking to him in a different language. It was in Spanish or
Mm,
English. And next thing you know, all the lechuzas flew away. And she came
wow.
back at me and gave me a little smirk. And she told me, I took care of it. Tell your mom that everything's going to be okay from now on. And that was the last time that those lechuzas ever came to our house. Those
Wow.
lechuza brujas ever came. And
Right.
she will make me read the Spanish Bible to her. We came to a verse where It's talking about how all souls can be saved. How people have to repent, ask God for forgiveness. Then she looked at me, and then she said, "Even I can be saved." Well, it says right here, Grandma, that if you repent, ask God for forgiveness, that He's a forgiving God, that He'll forgive you for your sins. Uh, then I looked at her butt. You have to pray in true faith and believe in Him. And
Right.
I told
Right.
her, you can't lie yourself into the kingdom of heaven. At that time, I didn't know about all this, so I started putting a lot of senses. She was. I've run into people. Just put it this way: I was in Germany. My grandmother, when I was in Germany, my grandmother had already. She passed away like in 1980. So I'm in Germany. I was going to this
Yeah.
bar. I was 19 years old. It's called Cheers. I opened the bar and the doors, and it was smoke and all this drunk GIs. I like, screw this. I'm going back home to the billets. I
Right.
said, so when I closed the door, turn around, there's this man standing behind me. He's got a long jacket because it was cold, and he had a top hat, like I don't know, like what's the guy's name? The Humphrey Bogart kind of hat on, and he's
Oh
got
yeah. Yeah.
umbrella.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he's looking at me, and he says to me, I know who you are, right?" And he's
Hmm.
talking to me with an accent, and I was like, don't know, I don't know who you are. He said, "I don't even know who you are," and he said my name. I was like, "Well, how does
Mm.
this guy know my name?" Then he looked
Right.
at me, and I said, "I know who you are because I know your grandmother and grandfather." That's what he said.
Mm. Yeah.
So then I said, "Okay, well, what's their names?" He said both of their names. This guy
Mm.
has an accent from over there.
Right.
I'm looking at him, and then so okay, so where am I from? He said the name of my town, man. I'm like,
Whoa,
"How is
bro.
it possible?" I wasn't drinking, I was sober. And then he said my parents' names and my brother and sister's names, everybody's name. I looked at him and said, "Well, you have a nice evening, sir." Turned and walked away from him.
Right.
You know,
Right.
who was he? You know, to me, demons. Either something
Right.
demonic. The only things I could think of was something demonic because the first persons that he named was my grandmother and grandfather will be like a generational curse of some sort, right?
Right.
That's how demons travel, through
Yep.
generation from generation. Uh,
Mm.
that or the other possibility would have been if he knows my mind and is getting this information because he knows what I'm thinking, then he would be kind of like a Nosferatu, like a
Right.
something in that nature, demonic,
Right.
Nosferatu. They know what you're thinking. What's
Right.
the spirit knows the spirit. At
Right.
that time, I didn't know how to type under Rick and Jesus Christ's name, but
Hmm.
there's something that ain't right, man. It's all affiliated, you know.
Right.
Gonna be in a
Right.
foreign country, and this person is talking a different language with an
Right.
accent knows everything about me. There's no way.
Right.
But spiritually, it makes sense.
Right.
It could have been a manifestation. I don't know. I didn't see him disappear or nothing. He stood right there when I walked away, standing right
Yeah.
there. He never went in the bar or nothing. I just
Right.
walked away from him.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
the thing with the bloodline, right? Or brujos, brujas, or whatever. You know, you live in Houston, so a lot of the brujas, like around the Houston area or anything living near the coastline, the sirens are affiliated with those individuals.
okay, gotcha.
And then like inland, the living on land, it will be the lechuzas, which are
Right.
harpies. So the harpies and the lechuzas, what they are the women that slept. They created the Nephilim that slept with the
Right.
watcher. That's where the witchcraft and necromancy comes from in the bloodline.
Right.
So a bruja or that manifests into lechuza will say that the siren, a sirena,
See.
they're sisters. They're
Right.
literally like the sisterhood of the land and the sisterhood of the ocean. And the affiliation is because it slept with the watchers that created the Nephilim, the unclean spirits. So
Right.
it's crazy, man. Yeah, but you just gotta follow your spirits. Uh, we all have to choose our own path in life, and yeah, I've heard a lot of stories and I've experienced a lot of things, but I know where how my heart feels when I have the love foundation, man. It's very
Right.
freaking awesome compared to me when somebody has hatred, anger, vengeance in the heart. It's like an anchor. It's holding you back from knowing who you are and who we all are, in spite of whoever was before us. Even they, we're all children of the light. We have an
Right.
opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven, right? And the
Right.
things, which is the DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim, demons, the fallen, the legion, they're never going to make it into the kingdom of heaven. So they want to stop us
Right.
from ascending. So for people that put themselves under them or worship them, they're really doing a disgrace to themselves because they're actually greater than them because they've already fallen. We have the
Right.
opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. You need to know
Right.
people need to know their self worth,
Right.
and
Right.
that's what they do is they throw the wrench in there to cause confusion, not to let the people know who they really are, and their mission is to deceive many people so nobody will make it back into the kingdom of heaven. That's what they're trying to do. They
Right.
did it to our abuelos, to our abuelas, to our bloodline, and somebody's got to stand up against them. That's why you have to
Right.
forgive. When you
Right.
forgive, you sever all that, the brujeria, anything negative that's happening, you sever that when you place Jesus Christ first.
Right.
Forgiveness is part of love. When you
Right.
sever that, then you'll understand, and the Heavenly Father will bless you. Just by having a relationship with Him, He'll bless you and He'll show all this spiritual gifts of discernment, which is a lot greater than uh, being deceived and making you think that dabbling in certain things is going to give you some kind of power. Because
Right.
the ultimate power is Jesus Christ, and
Yeah.
I've had it, man. I had it happen all throughout my life where brujas and brujas come at me, even still this day, where they come and they challenge me and all this. And I just tell them, if you have family or you value your life, don't come up against me because I don't fear you and I don't believe in you. Jesus Christ is with
Right.
me. So
Right.
you got bad intentions. It's going to backfire on you. I had happened that to me at a bar with my sisters. There was this old lady with like six women all dressed in black, and I had a cold. Lady tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "Dance with me." And I said, "No, ma'am, I don't feel good right now. I feel sick." Uh, then she didn't move. She tapped me on the shoulder again, and she said, "Dance with me now, or else." I said, "Ma'am,
Mm.
I already told you I don't feel good." So she starts cussing at me, and my sister tells her, "Hey, why are you cussing at me? He's telling you respectfully that you don't feel good."
Mm.
And she goes in the middle of the dance floor and she starts yelling, and she just tell him who I am. Dile quién soy. And all the brujas are like, es la gran bruja de la area, the grand witch of the area.
Mm.
And I
Right.
looked at them and I said, I don't care if you're the wicked witch of the west. All I gotta say to you is don't do it. Don't try to do something to me because I've seen people like you come and go all throughout my lifetime. I gave them a warning.
Right.
So they got over there, started chanting something. So I prayed against them.
Right.
Following week, I go back to the same bar. There's only one of those females of the six that were there one of them, and she was looking at me with fear, you know.
Mm.
So what's the matter? Why are you looking at me like you're scared of me? She said that the Gran Bruja, that night that she came up against me, she died that night of a brain aneurysm. And
Oh, wow.
she was wishing death upon me.
Yeah.
And then the other five of them, including her, were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm.
All of them.
Horrible.
But you know how he's talking about. I'm just sharing the story of how he's talking about the hospital. How you had to pray for people. Well, I try to
Yeah.
warn
Yeah.
people. You know, it's not like I'm trying to do anything to anybody. It happens that way. You know, when you like this show by itself, what we talk about here. You know, people that are, you know, it's about the balance, and that some of them dislike what we talk about here, but we're just bringing the spiritual truth to the light. You know, and it's up to whatever somebody wants to believe in. You know, that's on them. You know, like somebody was talking about Bigfoots. I say I don't believe
Right.
in the Bigfoots or any cryptids because of what I've witnessed and I've dealt with. It's more of a spiritual thing.
Right.
You know, people get offended with that. So when I bring the spiritual aspect, like we'll be talking tonight, people of the balance are going to get mad. People, you know,
Right.
the devil in the dark arts. Well, oh, he's making fun of brujas. I'm not making fun of brujas. He's making fun of brujas because she got took, she got taken out on her own. You know, I just told him that
Right.
don't do nothing because I'm protected by the Heavenly Father.
Right.
So they
Right.
don't believe and they target me and things happen. You know, like I
Right.
said, I've seen, man. If I were to say 100 people have that has crossed my path that were coming up against me, I'm in the negative. That's not enough. It's been many, and I'm still here. You know,
Right.
and all I know is, you know, I believe, you know, in Jesus Christ, and He's my protector. He was been there for me when I was out there facing all this, the jinn and all that.
Yeah.
There when
Yeah.
I faced the brujas that came after me when I was 3 years old. And he's always with me, man. That's what people don't
Right.
understand. That
Right.
you're never alone. You know, there's people that go through things and they feel like they're alienated and they feel that nobody cares about them and they're gonna that's when they start messing with the dark arts and stuff like that. And
Right.
dark arts, when you open up yourself to that, because they're opening their heart to that, right? It engulfs
Right.
them and it holds them back, gives them anger, hatred, bondage. That's not a good feeling, man. It's not a good feeling at all being that way. When you have the heavenly love foundation I'm talking about, you'll see a big difference. And then you'll
Right.
see that your spiritual self worth is a lot more than what anything tries to offer you here on this earth. Because
Right.
it's about us. Our spirits are going to continue to live everlasting through Jesus Christ, and that's what they
Right.
don't want you. They don't want you to ascend. They want to keep you from ascending, making it
Right.
into the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And not saying that the people that like my grandfather, grandmother, whoever was involved in anything in any kind of what you're, you know, I have nothing against nobody. It's just I have to choose my own path. You know,
Right.
family is still going to be family, but at the same time, it's up to us what we want to allow in our lives, in their livelihood. We don't have to accept somebody's negativity to jump from generation to generation. We can put a stop to that because we love our children. You know, some of these people,
Oh yeah.
the deals that they make were very evil. That they
Mm.
they forsake their children. They want to
Mm.
buy more time here on this earth, so they'll send the malda or the I call them the collector. The
Yeah.
collector, whatever deal they made, will come for their soul.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for them to buy more time, they have to send the collector to somebody within the bloodline, a family member.
Mm.
They'll say a name, and then the demon, right, or soul collector go mess whoever they send it to. But it's got to be a family member that mess with. I witnessed this. That's what I'm talking about. It, but
Mm.
it's just you learn things. I mean, I seen how this thing. I got so many stories, man. But maybe we'll talk about it another night. We've been
Yeah,
on
bro.
for 3 hours and 39 minutes, man.
Oh, dang.
Like I said, I don't have nothing against anybody I never had. You got to know your self worth. Uh,
Yeah, man. Said no truth.
yeah, and and sometimes people they get mad, they get upset, right? Because you got some that are there's like white magic, and there's black magic, and I've been targeted all my life by the people of the black magic because,
Right.
in a sense of way, spiritually, they know what my destiny that I'm a good guy, that I have a good heart. But there
Right. Right.
are situations where the women that are around me uh, at a party one time, my son had gotten hurt, and I was going to take him home, and I figured, he hurt himself that these women are going to go, hey, check up on him like the always. They didn't. They're all sitting there and they're looking at me, and the next thing you know how the Holy Spirit works. It enters people to show you their true nature. So all these women
Right.
are looking at me, and all of them are saying this, brother. Can't wait to drink the blood of the saint. That's what they're saying. So
Wow.
that was my cue to leave the party.
Yeah, exactly. The hell with that.
I took my
Nuts.
son
All
with
right,
me.
brother. Let me get this kid.
But
I'm gonna
you
get some
want to you
shut
want to
eye.
share one more story? Go ahead, brother. Before we go.
Uh, let me see. Oh man, I had one in mind. Oh my gosh, whose story was it? Um. Oh, my grandmother. There's another story. So the same area in Houston. So the guy was talking about Harrisburg. So if you go the railroad tracks, next is Rusk Street, and next is Walker Street. One day, my grandfather, I don't know what he was going to do. He was going to go to the store for my grandmother across the tracks, and from the tracks to where to Harrisburg Street, from where my grandmother's house is, it's about a good maybe in the car, maybe a good 4 to 5 minutes. Not that bad. Well, my grandmother was cooking, and I guess one of my uncles had did something where the aceite got caught on my grandmother's arm, and it was on fire. And remember, we didn't have no cell phones. They didn't have cell phones back in the day. So as he was crossing the railroad, he goes, "Oh my God, my wife's in danger." I don't know how he felt it, but he like hugged his chest and he whipped the car around, drove all the way back, and sure enough, my grandmother passed out on the ground, and the kids were like, oh my God, mom is hurt, burning." He ended up turning on, getting the blanket, suppressing the fire, and taking my grandmother to the hospital. And my grandmother said, "How did you know? How did you know this was happening? How did you know, Roy? How did you know?" And he told her the story I'm telling you. He goes, "I was driving the car. He told me to go to the store to get something. Right on the top of the tracks, something in my heart, like a sharp knife, struck me." He said, "Oh my!" And he said, "My wife's in danger. I got to go back." And he just turned around. I was like, "Wow!" And I remember my grandmother when she told me that a couple of times, and every time she always had a tear in her eye, man,
Yeah,
because
that's
she don't remember. Yeah, she don't remember him getting there. All she remembers the hospital.
yeah, that's when you're spiritually connected with somebody through love, man. You can sense
Yeah,
when they're going through something. Me and my sister we're 10 months apart, so I can sense when she's going through something, and she can sense when I'm going through something. We have those
yeah,
that ability, but I can sense things in that nature. I remember one time I was driving and started crying, man, out of nowhere.
yeah.
And then I seen the image of something happening to my son at the time. At the time, my
Oh
son
no. Hmm.
was going back and forth because she had my ex had took my son, and in the image, I felt that something happened to him, right?
Yeah.
So around like an hour or two later, I get a call from his mom saying that he had broken his leg. And
Mm.
I'm trying to figure out how he broke his leg and stuff, and but I felt that something had happened to my son. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the same way I can feel that, I can feel when there's danger around spiritually. So I pray for him and stuff like that. I try to get him to understand. But this new generation,
Yeah,
the with the indoctrination of the schools and stuff like that, is trying
yeah,
to mislead them. But I'm trying to get them to understand about the spiritual things. Not to
right,
hold them to the
right.
conventions of this earth.
Yeah, it's a lot of it, man. It's getting worse too, bro. Like you had mentioned, the veil and all that's getting. It's just crazy how things are coming out. It's like before I tell people, man, about 15, maybe 20 years ago, the devil wasn't spoke of. It's taboo and it's wrong. Now he's basically telling you, we're here, we're coming after your kids, and all kind of crazy stuff, man. You're like, and it's
Well,
normal. People are accepting
Hollywood,
it. I was like, dude,
the Hollywood and the politics, all that's in cahoots. You're able to see that that's part of the balance of other things, even things that happen in hospitals. It's part of the balance. There's black
yeah,
widows. There's some evil people. It's everywhere, and almost in every structure you can think of. In the church, it's everywhere. You gotta have the relation with Jesus Christ in order to be able to fight for yourself and for your family members. You have to have the relationship with them. I remember
right,
in the field, I had something happen to me out there where he spoke to me. Then he told me, when he spoke to me, it was like powerful, something like thunder, lightning, the roaring of the ocean, very strong voice.
hmm,
And I was in the field training at that
right,
time. Uh,
damn,
I kept on hearing somebody call me by my first name. In the military, they
right,
call me by the last. So I kept on picking
right.
up
Now it's
on
right,
guard. There was nobody out there. And then I took up my CBC,
right.
and then I heard it again, real strong. And he told me, tell your brothers and sisters how to expect me to bless them or heal them if they don't allow me in.
Ooh,
Tell them they need to open up their heart. I mean their doors and windows to let me in, which
right,
means the heart
right,
and your senses, right?
right.
And then he told me something else, dealing with me, uh, that I didn't have to be on tax no more. And I'm like, I just re-enlisted, for 4 more years. And I said, how could it be? I just re-enlisted. And then this is what he said: where's your faith? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Mm,
And that was the last transmission or spiritual transmission I had.
right, right.
And something happened to me when I woke up. I couldn't feel my left side. They
Mm,
had to come. Uh, the medics came, took me out of the tank.
yeah.
They took me to the hospital. They did all kinds of tests on me. They couldn't find nothing. But still, my
Mm,
left side was having problems.
yeah.
Now sitting on the bench, and this woman that worked in the hospital, she came to me and said, "¿Qué te pasa, mijo?" It was a Spanish woman. And I was telling her what happened, and she said, "Come with me." She took me into the hospital to one of the very last rooms called CSEP,
Yeah.
and it was for the veterans that had served in the
Right, right,
Gulf.
right.
And she made me fill out some paperwork there and some questions on the computer. So when I went back to my unit, they took me to the field. Then I went back to another appointment the week later, seen two neurologists, and next thing you know, they told me they diagnosed me with epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
So they gave me this dead man. They call it the dead man profile, where
Right.
you're not allowed to do anything. Can work Kevlar, can go to the field, can go nowhere.
Right.
So the last years in the military for me, I was just doing details, different details, because I couldn't go back to the field because of the condition that they found, which was just dealing with a blow to the head that I had
Mm,
that was causing all the problems I was having.
mm,
But the one that told me that I didn't have to be on tanks and where's your faith was Jesus Christ, I was the Heavenly Father,
right.
in which He made all this happen, I believe, because He made it happen that way.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, if you say something to me, it's because I wasn't meant to be in. The time I was there, I had to be there for that reason. But now I just did 10, and that's it. you know.
Right, right.
But
Yeah, it's all, God's always got us and under His mind, man, under His conditions, man. I always tell people you should celebrate that you're alive, man. You got a roof over your head, you get some food, you can breathe. Most people will take that for granted, man. I mean, like the patients I see, they're all happy. They're paraplegic. They have a tracheostomy in their throat. I was like, man, and they're excited. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think a lot of us, because of the way the generation is, like you said, like John said, they don't care no more. They're gonna fight brother against brother, and mother kill mom, daughter kill mother, and stuff. It's just horrible, dude. And especially you sense it even more if you're like empathetic, like an empath, like I'm sure you are, like me. And man, Abe, there's days it's weird and it happens. And I tell my mom this, and my mom knows because I used to tell her when I was younger. She didn't tell me though, but I'm like, there's days I don't want to go anywhere, certain place, because I know something bad. I can feel it and I don't like it, and my knee starts hurting. Como estás frío afuera con el clima así. I was like, man, it's not cold outside. Why is my knee hurting? And I remember, I think something's going to happen. And sure enough, you look on the news locally, like a certain freeway, especially in Houston, it's really bad. I don't know how San Antonio and the Valley is, but you're like, dude, you don't even want to drive, dude. It's like people driving the wrong way, going 80 miles an hour. And, a family gets killed. And you're trying to get home. It's just those kind of things. And like, I'm starting to get them more frequently now. I'm starting to get more
what
dreams more. But,
when you feel the thing on your leg, is it your left leg?
uh, now
Or you?
it depends. My left and right leg are bad. My left leg's starting to get out. But I do start feeling some of the pains there, or sometimes it'll shoot in my back. So I'll be standing, brushing my teeth or shaving, and all of a sudden my back gives out. And I understand of injuries. I'm 90% disabled. Trying to get that 100. But
Yeah.
it's just there's certain times that I'll be talking to my girl and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go that way. I just don't feel good. I don't feel comfortable. And and then like maybe I try to get rid of it, so I relax, and then like I'm, I'm looking on the internet, looking what's going on, what's happening, and then if it's been for a while, when I feel that it's something major, like worldly kind of thing. If it's
Yeah.
something like within a day or so like that, and only it's something close to around the area, and it's just bad.
Well,
So
we're hitting the 4 hour marker, brother.
all right, brother.
I would like to have you back on, man. Whenever you want to jump on, or I know tomorrow. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna do something tomorrow, but if I'm on, man, if you want to jump on again, just let me know.
Yeah, brother.
Uh,
Let me know a
but
time frame.
appreciate
Is
you.
it nights or afternoons,
Yeah,
whatever? Then I
I
click
normally
on.
do the lives at nighttime. That's I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
check it out. Night owl.
Pinche
Uh,
bujo. Yeah,
I
bro.
wear
That,
this.
that's
I
fine.
wear the shirts for the show, which is I'm talking about Lechuza and Brujas. So I
Oh,
just
yeah,
wear it
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
show.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
you know, just for the show. I wear it on because a lot of people are infatuated with lechuzas, and I got a lot of stories of lechuzas, but they just don't know how they could be. I got scratches. I got scratched in my face. I
Mm.
got scratched on my back. We'll talk about it next time, man,
Yeah.
and talk
Okay.
more in
Keep
depth
going, bro.
so people can understand things of the battles. Especially with the things that are happening right now, the way things are going, we have to be spiritual ready to fight the good fight, man. We have to be ready.
Yep. All the time.
Is there anything you would like to say to the viewers?
If you're on here, thanks for listening to us. I like the idea of the commonality that we have. I've never met Abe in my life. It's the first time, and you can see the commonalities of our upbringing. And just if you have that same thing, speak about it. I don't know if you may have felt weird, which you probably have been, but it's good to let it out. It's like consider it like a therapy session with us, man, because we're not gonna, chastise you or look at you different. We're gonna probably ask more questions, because it's, you know, not normal. It's paranormal. So, it's something that, oh man, it's not only me having this, it's this person, it can be small, it can be big. I just want people to acknowledge it and know that, don't be afraid. And I heard this the other day that most people are afraid of the enemy, the devil. I was like, and I looked at him, I was like, why would you be afraid of the created and not the creator? That makes no sense to me. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's what it
it's the
is. No,
same.
no fear. That you have no fear, because when you have Jesus Christ with you, you have nothing to fear.
Yeah, right. You're not alone.
But don't let the enemy deceive you, man, because that's what they do, is deceive you. And I know they've deceived many before us within the bloodline.
Right.
They're tricksters, man.
Yeah, it's exactly what they are. Exactly what they are. All right, brother. Blessings and have a good night, brother. I hope to talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother Roland.
Yes, sir.
Shoot me a friend request, man. Are you on
Okay.
Facebook?
Yeah, I'll shoot you it.
HCS. All righty, brother.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace. There you go, brother and sisters. Brother Roland. I think that was a pretty good show tonight for those that tuned in. Because everything happens for a reason. I was feeling a certain way earlier, and I fell asleep. Woke up and decided to do a show, and I think it was a pretty good show. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Here we're talking about things of the balance, and I'm more sure we're going to get more in depth. He's got a lot of knowledge, so I'm more sure we're going to get more in depth and a lot more stories to hear from Brother Roland. In saying that, love, light, and blessings to every single one of y'all and your families. This is Brother Apesius, Sarncia signing off from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Everybody have a good night. God bless you, brothers and sisters. Uh, we'll see what happens tomorrow. If I do a show, it'll be around the same time frame, probably 10. If I decide to do one, I'm not sure yet. And normally on Saturdays I don't do one, but we'll see. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. Uh, Always remember to maintain your heavenly love foundation, because that's the key right there, brothers and sisters. That's the key. Maintain your heavenly love foundation. Don't let nothing break uh, your foundation. Place Jesus Christ first. Good night, everybody, and good morning. Peace out.